Andrew Wilson and Muslim debater Daniel Hake collide in Nashville, Tennessee this November 15th and 16th at DebateCon 6 on whether or not Christian or Islamic values are better for society. You don't want to miss it. Grab your tickets by clicking on this link right now so you don't miss out on this epic debate conference featuring that debate and many others.
Hey everybody. Tonight we were debating, was Trump a better pick over Kamala? And we are starting right now with the Trump side, in particular Hake of the Hake Report. The floor is all yours.
Good morning. Good evening, everybody. Morning for some people. I really appreciate you, Modern Day Debate, and fellow debaters. Our greatest president, I call him, not a king. He is a benevolent dictator for 3 days, simply enforcing the law for once in our lifetimes, and is doing some much needed things. There are protests right now called No Kings. There's been a lot of violence and discord and division in our country, and I'm very happy that President Trump has won back his rightful position as the president of the United States, turning the White House right again. And my favorite part about President Trump's presidency is that he's bringing a unique spirit that is truthful, honest, unpredictable, peace loving, but willing to do tough things. And he is, like they say that the media is supposed to do, he is comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfortable. And he's a joyful warrior, like Kamala pretended to be. He's very inspiring. And Kamala is just, I like her actually a little bit, but she's just kind of an empty shell. And so I think it's just hands down, we don't need any more queens. Trump is already putting enough women in charge, too many in my opinion. But overall, I don't care if he doesn't finish the wall. I don't care if he doesn't succeed at deporting the people who need to get out of here. I don't care if he doesn't succeed at bringing peace in the Middle East. I don't care if he doesn't end the war in Ukraine and with Russia. I don't care about any of those things that he seems to be making some headway in. I don't care if he brings back the economy or not. I don't care about any of those things. I don't even care if America continues its downward slide. It's been going down for a long time. But Trump has a can-do attitude that's very hopeful, and he also brings a lot of competence, and that has been sorely lacking. One of my favorite things about him is that he does not back down when he knows he is right. And he doesn't apologize when he doesn't need to apologize. And so I really appreciate that he's bringing some real genuineness and manhood, like I didn't even really believe was possible. I thought that every politician just had to be a phony, play-along politician. And Trump will play along with people. He's not too different from Biden in that he'll go with the flow of the times. Biden at one time was against this forced segregation and busing and all that stuff. And Kamala acted like she was a little victim girl, a victim of Biden's racism, Joe Biden's racism. Her own president, her own boss, future boss. And he just picked her because he was a kiss up. And Trump too is very kind to women. He's not about erasing anybody. He's about putting them in their rightful place and even giving them more of a chance than maybe they deserve. So he's the right man for the job. And I'm pretty glad that Kamala did not win. And Michael, my teammate, take it away.
All right. I appreciate you, Hake. I appreciate James, the moderator, and both of our opponents tonight, Free Will and Phoebe. All right, so the question of whether Trump was a better pick than Kamala, it seems very obvious to me in that Trump never should have left office, in the sense that I was surprised that he lost. I'm not saying that he didn't lose. I'm saying he never. I was so surprised he lost. And the thing about politics is you don't have to be an expert in politics to analyze the world around you, to analyze what's going on at your business, with your peers, with your friends, rising costs, things like that. So in the first place, Trump never should have lost. When Trump was in office, the economy was robust. I think that's a word he loves using. We're so robust, right? And he was right. Stock market was at all-time high. There was a tremendous amount of just ups and downs, but everything was trending up. And then 2020 happened. We went into quickly, from an economic standpoint, we quickly went into a bear market. And then we proceeded to climb out of a bear market faster than almost any other time in history. And then Joe Biden got elected with Kamala. And Joe Biden, they're synonymous, because so then enter Joe Biden and Kamala, and all of a sudden, we've got Vladimir Putin moving in on, putting his troops near the border of Ukraine and starting some stuff with that. Donald Trump kept so many dangerous world leaders in check when he was, or at least I believe he did, when he was in office, because he had the gall to do that. He commanded the respect, in my opinion. And let me also say that there's no one person that I totally agree with, not even my wife, okay? Not even in my own household, not even my best friends. But I do believe that he commanded a lot of respect from a lot of world leaders, and I don't think that stuff like that would have happened had he been in office. And then on top of that, moving kind of into Kamala, she was the proclaimed border czar. And at the border, illegals were coming in like a turnstile at Disney World. And I'm all for immigrants. My mom was an immigrant. She came here legally. But with Kamala as the border czar, it just got so out of hand. And then inflation under Joe Biden and Kamala, inflation rise to almost a 40-year high. I'm currently 41 years old. So up until maybe a few months ago, inflation was just dancing around at literally the highest rate in my lifetime. So it's like, I'm watching it happen when I got 4 kids. So I'm watching it happen when we go to the supermarket, when we go to the movies. I'm spending, $150 just to go see one movie and all the damn popcorn and all that shit. Sorry, pardon my French. But it just seemed like life was harder under Biden than it was the first time around under Trump. And then Biden dropped out of the race. And I think that just kind of validated that, that probably happened because he was probably forced out because he wasn't as competent as his peers were saying he was. And that leads me to believe that Kamala was, whatever the term you want to use, pulling the strings, whatever. So what happened under Biden definitely is synonymous with Kamala. And then Miss Harris got 0 votes in the primary because she wasn't even in it. So it's like, all right, we had a guy who orchestrated one of the best economies in the history of our nation versus someone who got no votes. So it seems obvious to me. And then you get things like Kamala stating things like, I will not raise taxes. I won't raise taxes on anyone making under 400 grand. Well, it's like, okay, what do you think is going to happen if you raise taxes on the Waltons? You're going to go to Walmart and your stuff's going to go up by 40%. Okay. Like it's just, it trickles down. And it just seems to me like Donald Trump, is just bringing guts back to America. That's all I have right now.
You got it. Thank you very much for that opening. Folks, if it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate, I'm your host, Dr. James Coons. Want to say we hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you are from. We are a fully neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. And if you did not know, you guys, our 2-day debate conference, DebateCon, is going to happen in Nashville, Tennessee this November 15th and 16th. See debaters such as Andrew Wilson take on Dr. Richard Carrier, as well as Apostate Prophet, Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Jones, Made by Jim Bob, you name it. It's going to be the event of the year. Grab your tickets at the link in the description box. I'm also pinning that same link for your tickets at the top of the live chat. With that, we're going to kick it over to our pro Kamala side. Thank you very much, William and Phoebe, for being with us. William, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, James. I gotta share my screen here. Does everyone see it?
Yes.
All right.
I do.
Let me start my timer here. So after listening to our opponents, I have actually been fully convinced. I'm going to change my mind. I'm actually going to be pro-Trump and against Kamala in my opener here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to change my slides, so we're going to have to deal with what I have here, but I think I can make it work. So let's get started. So for qualifications, Donald Trump is an extremely qualified person. He is a felon, which means he is very familiar with the justice system. He's a felon. He is guilty of sexual abuse. He has bragged about sexual assault. He's a great businessman while bankrupting 6 businesses. He's very ethical at making money. He's famous for his selling of Trump NFTs and Trump cryptocurrencies and even pieces of his own clothing and suits. It's a very very ethical way to make money in business. And Harris has a bunch of irrelevant experience as 7 years as a DA, 6 years as an AG, 4 years as a senator. She's too in the system, right? She's too familiar. And for example, if I was trying to get brain surgery, the last thing I'm going to want is someone who's very familiar with brain surgery. I'm going to want someone who's very different, who's very uniquely spirited, as Hake referred to him as. And so, for example, I would want like a veterinarian to do my brain surgery. And that's what I look at Donald Trump as to politics. He's very unfamiliar with it. And that's exactly what makes him great. So for taxes and the economy, Donald Trump has been pushing these tariffs, as everyone knows in America. He's been pushing these tariffs really hard, and that's fantastic for us because that means he is choosing to gamble with our money in a way that we have zero control over. He has all the decision of what risks to take with it, and that is perfectly fine because I'm sure it's all going to turn out great when China rolls over backwards and gives us everything we've ever wanted. It's all going to come back to us immediately. I'm sure that's right around the corner. And of course, he's wanting to cut taxes to the wealthy, and that's good because that's what the wealthy deserve. They deserve more money. And that is the opposite of what Kamala wants. Kamala wants to increase taxes to the wealthy and give more money to child tax credits and first home buyers. And that just seems like some communist liberal propaganda, and thank God we avoided those situations. And speaking of houses, we are not in a housing crisis. If anyone has tried to buy a house recently, they are very familiar with the fact that it is super easy right now to buy a house, very affordable houses at the moment. So it makes sense that Donald Trump slashed housing and urban development programs by 43%. And he's also canceled many affordable housing contracts with us because he knows it's super easy to buy a house. Anyone can buy a house right now. They're all so cheap. And Kamala, again, she wanted $25,000 tax credits for first home buyers, and she wanted to incentivize more affordable housing. No one wants that. No one wants more affordable housing. It's a waste of money. Yeah. Immigration. Trump, we all know Trump is the immigration guy, right? And I don't know if people are aware, he's actually rescinded the guidelines of ICE so that now ICE can access all of the sensitive areas, including churches and hospitals and schools. So now these people never feel safe in this country. Just because they love America so much, they are willing to cross legal boundaries to be here, it doesn't matter. The circumstances of your birth should determine how the rest of your life turns out. That is what we all understand. And Harris, she wants to hire more asylum-seeking making asylum officers and asylum judges so she can do a quicker job of processing asylum seekers. And that just seems like a lot of headache, a lot of paperwork, a lot of waste of time. And I don't see any value in that. Trump is going to get rid of all of these people, regardless of how productive they are or how much they love America. You know, they just want to bring in this culture of working harder while also being less entitled. And Donald Trump is not going to put up with that. So thank God he's taking care of it. Education. Shocker to everyone, he's cutting funding to education. Thank goodness, because that is the best thing you can do for a country overall in the long term, right? He's also banning anti-American material in the country, such as, you know, talking about the slave trade and Native American genocide and Jim Crow era, because, and thank goodness he's going to try to get rid of that, because that's all fictional stuff, right? It's all liberal lies. And we're not going to talk about that. And we're not going to teach kids about that because that's just going to make them hate America and be upset. So we're getting rid of all that. Harris wants to increase teacher pay and make universal pre-K. She's trying to get the population to be more and more educated. And that is the worst thing you can do, right? We understand an educated population is an unhappy population. They're not going to be malleable. They're not going to be able to be worked on. And, you know, they're going to be like, oh, give me my rights. And you're taking legal status away from it. No, we want them to be lower on the education so you can, you know, go around them, get around with things and make things easier overall. Democracy and institutions, Donald Trump is really doing great with this. He's just like in education, he's also going to be removing improper ideology in historical museums. And I'm really happy he's able to control the narrative in history museums. He's also going to be removing federal aid for voter education and voter registration, which is the opposite of what Harris was planning to do. And Harris, she was going to try to put more term limits on political seats, like the Supreme Court, and she was going to outlaw gerrymandering. And you know, no one really likes term limits on political seats. We want lifelong seaters where you can do whatever you want with no repercussions for your position. Most Americans are on that side of things. So it's just a shame that she's going to try to put those term limits in. This is my last slide here. This is a quote from Donald Trump. I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring. I think really only pretty bad people want to keep something like that going. I have no idea what he's talking about in this, but he's probably right considering he's such a great president and everything. So let's keep going. And on this right side is just a bunch of waste of time policies Harris was talking about implementing. So yeah, so that's the end of my presentation. I appreciate everyone. And Phoebe, we can hand it off to you.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you for that presentation, Will. That was really informative. I think Donald Trump represents an existential threat to the freedom of every American to express themselves, to use their freedom of speech, to represent what and who they are in their everyday lives. Can you guys hear that train horn? Do I need to mute?
We can. What I'm going to do is...
There we
Is the
go.
train going through your living room?
Sorry.
What I'm going to do is...
Yes, basically.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, cool. Alrighty. No, I was trying to catch it, but anyway. I think Donald Trump represents an existential threat to American freedoms as we know them. The First Amendment is under active attack by Trump right now. He just issued an executive order a few weeks ago declaring all of Antifa a terrorist organization. This is, of course, despite the fact that Antifa is not, in fact, an organization. It is a label short for anti-fascist. It's got roots that aren't even American in origin. It traces back to the German anti-fascist movement in the 70s. And this entire label of people, everyone who's ever used this label has been declared a domestic terrorist, meaning Donald Trump has effectively launched a civil war against the American left. This comprises, by the way, a pretty significant chunk of Americans, considering around 76% of Americans support universal health care, massive amounts of Americans support student loan forgiveness of at least some level, massive numbers of Americans support free universal higher education, free at the point of service. These are things that we agree on widely. vast majorities of our population agree on these things. When it comes to social issues, things get a little bit more dicey, that's true. But when it comes to issues of economic importance, these are things the American public is pretty much united in being pretty much leftist on. And pretty much everyone left of center has at some point or another called themselves Antifa. This is just the most prominent example of the way Donald Trump has decided to actively declare war on his own people. Us being his political opponents does not entitle him to wage an active war against us. Not only that, but he's waging an active war against...
One sec. I'm just going to jump in until the train passes. Otherwise, they won't be able to hear you, Phoebe. Folks, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We do appreciate it. Let me just check in on that train. Let's see. And then, Phoebe, I just asked you to unmute. Okay.
Is it good?
Yep.
Yeah, there was a really loud car coming through. I wasn't sure if it would catch it or not. I wish it would show me my audio levels, but it doesn't. Anyway, I forgot exactly where I was, but suffice it to say, I think Donald Trump represents an existential threat to what we are as a country and who we are as a culture. And I think that this is a threat that has to be stymied in whatever way possible. If Kamala Harris was our route to stymieing Trump's fascism, I think that we should have taken that route. And this, by the way, I will say, just in the interest of being forthright with everyone, this is a new position for me, honestly. This is something that it's taken me a while to come around on, because I have always advocated kind of against Kamala Harris as the sole and single-minded direction for the Democratic Party to go, or for the leftist electorate in America to go, because I believe we should have voted for a third party or an independent candidate in 2024. But we didn't get something like that. No movement like that emerged. And looking back on it, we would have been way better off with Kamala Harris. I tell you this much. Kamala Harris wouldn't be deploying the National Guard to America's cities in a weak attempt to control the speech of America's people. With that, I relinquish the balance of my time. Let us proceed.
Thank you very much for that opening from the Kamala side. Folks, a couple of quick housekeeping things. First, as I had mentioned, DebateCon 6 in Nashville on November 15th and 16th, made by Jim Bob, Andrew Wilson, Apostate Prophet. You don't want to miss it. Grab your tickets at the link in the description box. It's going to be huge. But also, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We're going to kick it into the open dialogue. The Q&A will be after the open dialogue. If you have any questions, fire them into the old live chat. You can either tag me at Modern Day Debate, or Super Chats are read first as they're pushed to the top of the list. With that, thank you very much. The floor is all yours, folks.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Okay. No, I just had a question. So Phoebe, I heard you talk about a lot of things that you believe Kamala Harris would have done. I guess, and the antithesis of Trump and free will. I also heard you talk about like things that she would have done as far in office, such as increase teacher pay, lowering taxes, right? You mentioned those things, right? I wrote them down.
No, I was mentioning that.
Yeah, that would be Will.
On your slide.
That was Will.
So my yeah, it was on your slide. Nevertheless, my question is but you did say something about increasing teacher pay. I just read the lower taxes part on your slide, and Phoebe said, but all these things you're talking about that Kamala Harris would have done, or she was gone, why did she not choose to do the previous 4 years that she actually had control with Joe Biden? Why did she not choose to pursue these?
So Donald Trump had a better position to implement all of his policies because he had a whole Republican House and Senate. We weren't given that, right? We have the cards fixed against us. We had a divided, right, Congress. So we had a lot more opposition to all of our points than Donald Trump did throughout all of his time in office and currently, right? So we have a lot more reason to excuse those kind of situations, and give us 4 more years and we would have been able to make those better progresses as we develop more into Congress, right?
I would just say, when you build policy on the back of the, I just want to say real quick, if you build policy on the back of the rule of law, it takes you a lot longer to get things done. Kamala Harris was, in fact, working on many of the things that she was campaigning for as vice president. If you look into her record, you'll see what she was doing in the background. I admit that she wasn't great on the border, but I'm of the opinion we didn't get a great set of candidates in 2024. I'm advocating that Kamala Harris would have been better than Trump, and in this regard, she certainly would have been.
I mean, go on.
But let's turn the question back on you, right? Where's the wall? When he had the Republican House and Senate, where's the wall? Why isn't there a wall? That was his entire slogan for like a year, and it never happened, right? He made a little fence that was not nearly as long as he promised it would be. So what happened with that?
Quite a bit of it got built. I'm fine with the progress that he made. There was a lot of opposition in the courts, and there's always going to be some opposition. Did you want the wall?
No, I didn't want the wall, but I would have wanted my president to fulfill his promises. Hake, it seems like that doesn't matter to you.
He definitely did.
You went on a whole rant about how you don't care about him fulfilling any of his promises. So I don't think you value that very much. But Michael, do you value your president fulfilling his promises?
I know that no matter who's in office, there's going to be, let's face it, with politicians, there's going to be a little bit of that. There's going to be a lot of this. There's going to be a little bit of bullshit. All right.
Yeah, but the main talking point for a year was a wall, right?
He was building
more than a year.
He was fulfilling his promise.
But what we witnessed is still, while he was in office, we still witnessed our economy become as robust as it has ever been. And then again, when we hear Kamala talk about, I'm going to increase teacher pay, I'm going to lower taxes, I hear a lot of this, but the people around me, personally, I'm in the car business. So I come in contact with a whole lot of people. I have friends that don't necessarily agree with me, but what I see from my family, I get up, I go to work, I come back in between when I buy groceries and everything. I hear a lot of this talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And then stuff around us is just getting more expensive. Stuff was like falling to shit. So it's like, I understand you're talking about a wall. Maybe
have things gotten cheaper under Trump though?
Say again?
I was just asking. I feel like this point gets made a lot, but I feel like things have continued to get more expensive under Trump. Certain things, I think gas has pretty much stayed the same, but groceries, I mean, I've got a family of 6 people, including myself. I know what it's like to buy groceries for a lot of people and to have to compact a lot of stuff into not a lot of money if you want to keep yourself afloat. And I feel like groceries continue to get higher under the Trump administration, which I'm of the opinion the president doesn't have much to do with the grocery prices unless they want to do some really, really formative shit. Like if you want to do some FDR or some Lyndon B. Johnson kind of stuff, if you want to do some Nixon level stuff, you can get that done. But if you're just going to be a regular liberal or a regular Republican, you're probably not going to do much about grocery prices one way or the other. So I'm not saying Trump has caused this, but I feel like it's weird to point out Kamala and Joe's inability to keep grocery prices in check when you're not going to point it out when Trump is unable to do the same thing.
I'd like to add to that, Phoebe. This was pre-COVID, so Trump didn't have the burden of having to deal with the recovery of a pandemic that completely obliterated an entire world. He also was basically cutting all sorts of regulations to all sorts of corporations. So of course you're going to see booms in industries where you don't have to look at what kind of malpractice or workers' rights are being violated for those industries. Of course, it's like eating your candy for dinner. It's delicious, right? It's so good. It's yummy, yummy. And long-term implications of that, you don't worry about till later, right? That's the Democrats. They got to worry about that.
So you're right. Trump did have COVID to deal with, right? And again, that's where I get back to when COVID happened and in the stock market, we hit what's called March lows, okay? And then we proceeded to do a V-shaped we literally pulled out of a bear market. I don't know the exact statistic, but it was faster than, it was like literally one of the fastest in history climbing out from a trough of a bear market to a bull market. Trump perpetuated that. And then again, go on.
No, I was just going to ask, in what way did Trump perpetuate that? Because I think it was just billionaires profiteering off of the pandemic and the recovery efforts.
Say it one more time.
I was saying, you said that Trump was basically one of the ringleaders of creating that big stock rebound. I'm saying I think it was more billionaires profiteering off of the rebuilding after the pandemic. We're talking about in 2020, right?
Yes. No, he gave. So there were so many people so confident that, again, it wasn't an easy thing to climb out of. But in 2020, there were more people that joined trading platforms than any time in history.
Yeah, but what does Trump have to do with that?
He was our presiding
He,
president.
he drove some of it by cutting a lot of regulations that those corporations would normally have to abide by, which is just ignoring the long-term
Did he cut
repercussions.
Which ones
Long-term.
did he cut?
Oh my gosh, the freaking the
Cutting regulations is a good thing.
The environmental regulation authorities are basically gone because of him. Like, it's really easy
Good.
to feel good about what's happening when it's a short-term boost, and you don't have to worry about the long-term consequences because you know the other half of the country are the only ones who are concerned about those things.
No, you're mistaken on that stuff because one of the problems with this education stuff is you have a whole bunch of like Gen Zers and women who are overly concerned about things that are not like a reality. You guys push a lot of fear, such as like, oh, the climate, when Trump is cutting regulations that are just burdensome and over the top. You ask anybody in any field, in any industry, and they will tell you that the regulations are just ridiculous. And so he's allowing for the cutting of that stuff. Under Obama, all of these bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats, were making thousands and thousands of new regulations, or pages anyway, of regulations. And that was killing the economy. And so Trump is for people's rights. So you don't have to worry about your little workers' rights or that stuff. He was making both the economy do well, and he's good for the environment.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Hake, when you're worried about this education stuff, as you quoted, just like how I said in my opener. This education, it's scary. It makes people upset because they don't want to know the realities of the world.
That's not reality.
It is not
brainwashing.
It is not false because you're afraid of it. It is true,
and
it is something that you should face rather than hide away from it.
No, Trump faces things head on. You guys are fear-mongering about stuff that isn't even real. Racism and sexism.
How do you know it's not real?
Erasing transgender stuff.
How do you know global
none of it is real.
How do you know? Are you a global warming expert?
All those people are scared of something that isn't even a reality.
What country?
It's not even a present. It's not even in their life. It's not even facing them.
Gives you that authority to say something like that? What have you studied this?
Everybody's doing fine right now, correct?
That's the opposite of the point.
No,
the point is
the reality.
I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about the future, Hake.
No, exactly. All you're doing is living in the future, living in your imagination.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine, and because you don't see the suffering of other people, you don't acknowledge that it exists. No, there are literally billions of people on this planet that are not doing fine, Hake.
I know, and Trump is the best thing for them.
You know, I feel like
you just said they were all doing fine.
I feel like Hake would have given my introduction.
But all those things, you want to blame climate change for it. But there's always been disasters and things like that. If you have a free market where people are actually successful, then they're better equipped to help out where needed and help themselves where they need it.
Yeah, and sell the future.
Did you know Mississippi is in a drought right now?
What's that?
I was saying, do you know, and this might seem out of left field, but did you know Mississippi is in a drought right now?
No, I did not.
Droughts happen.
Okay. Just for anybody listening, who isn't familiar, right? Just for anybody who's not familiar, okay? Mississippi is a watery ass state normally. Now we've gone through drought years here and there in our history, but this is the longest consecutive period of drought that has affected the Deep South in the entire history of taking recorded measurements. The climate is changing, whether you want to blame that on humanity or the changing climate patterns of the planet. We can debate that maybe, but that it is happening is undeniable. And in my opinion, it's undeniable that human beings are playing a big part in that, but it's easy to deny if you just reject all of science, which it seems like that's what you're doing, Hake. Are you just rejecting all of scientific consensus?
No, not particularly. I don't really trust scientific consensus. It's a liberal buzzword.
Who do you trust?
Trump is really the best thing for those any of those concerns, because what you guys are wanting to do is this globalist socialism redistribution of America's wealth in order to really redistributing poverty in order to just bring about communism rather than actually deal with the issues that may be coming up.
I mean, I feel like this is just right-wing fear-mongering.
No,
I
that's
feel like
what you guys are doing.
It's a very common
That's what the
talking
Green New
point.
Deal is.
It's
That's what
something
the
that is
UN
constantly
is. It's
said
fake.
of the left that the left is essentially just trying to enact communism, old school Soviet-style communism. It's not true, but it is something that sounds very scary to boomers who are listening online.
Well, and I want to stay on this a little bit longer because, Hake, I really like that how you said you don't trust the scientists. So when you come to scientific questions such as the climate, who do you trust?
I don't care. It's not my concern.
Care? Yeah, exactly. It's not your concern, Hake, because you don't think about this stuff.
Nor is it the people who are scared about it. All you're doing is fear mongering and justifying climate anxious people.
Michael, do you agree with Hake on this?
Well, my question is, what does this have to do with the topic? Because I kind of wanted to switch gears on something you said, Free Will, but
because it's extremely important to the far-term future of our country and even the world.
Yeah, but what does this have to do with whether or not Trump
was good? Because Trump is completely slashing. Because Trump doesn't regard.
Because nobody can hear either of you.
Sorry.
Okay. Maybe we entertain this for just another minute, and then we'll go to the topic that Michael wanted to go with.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, so back on the topic. So it's very important, Michael, because this is going to influence the next 1,000 years and influence your children's children, including even just your children, right? They are going to feel the impacts of climate change, and Donald Trump's actions are going to impact them. Kamala would have been a lot more conscientious of how our actions as a country would influence the future. And Donald Trump is literally trying to say, let's put our heads in the dirt so we don't have to think about what's going to happen in 20 years from now, just so that we can feel really nice and satisfied right in the next 4 years.
Michael, we'll give you a chance. If you want to cover what you wanted to cover, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Mr. Free Will, in your opening, you mentioned that Trump is a felon. And by the way, I do want to preface this by saying that I do have some very close friends that are felons. I have no problem with felons. Okay. I just find it ironic that this is a talking point that's constantly brought up, even though it was, white collar crimes, I guess you could call them. But my thing is that, many of the liberal Democrats, whatever you want to call them, they constantly talk about how felons are mistreated, how, obviously they have all the same rights and they should. So it's like, I always find it, I don't know what the word you want to use, satirical, that this is brought up when, I agree that felons have all the same rights. I don't judge someone because the only time I judge someone is if they molested someone or
which Donald Trump was found guilty of sexual abuse.
That's when I do. But
no, he was not.
Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, it was.
Donald Trump.
E.G. Carroll.
I do want to let Michael finish his point.
I'm sorry. Donald Trump was, convicted of these white collar crimes. Yes, he is a felon, but at the end of the day, okay, so what? That's why I stated that. So what? Felon, whatever whatever you want to call. And you guys are in the supposed, what party of inclusion, whatever. And again, I'm not painting you guys or anything because I'm inclusive also with that. But I just find that ironic, oftentimes, if that makes any sense at all.
I have a response to that.
Yes.
I feel like when the left brings up that Donald Trump is a felon, it's not necessarily because we think that a felon is inherently incapable of performing the duties of president. It's because the right is supposedly the party of law and order, right? You guys are supposed to be, like the Republicans, the right, whatever you want to refer to yourself as. You guys are supposed to be the party of law and order, of anti-corruption and transparency. You do things by the book with us, but I think it's
perfect.
I think it's an instance of well, of course not everybody's perfect, but do you not think it's at least a little bit hypocritical? Do you not think it's at least a little bit hypocritical to be a president who is a felon for all of the reasons we've talked about, and yet run for the presidency with a party and a platform that is law and order focused and that invokes that as an element of its rhetoric constantly. Like, don't you see the hypocrisy in that?
No,
Not
I
at all.
see he's somebody who, he has maintained his wealth. There are people who have built up from nothing. I just see him as a man. He's just a man.
That's right.
And if our president's ever a woman, great. Then that's just I would like somebody who is just, a downright American, like somebody who has fought for what they have. At the end of the
So
day, I don't
Kamala was a felon, you wouldn't care.
I would
Depends on the felony.
If somebody molested someone
Same
or
felonies.
raped someone, then as far as I'm concerned, they can go off and walk off a cliff.
Michael,
right?
why do you care about if someone molested someone? Why do you care about that?
That's irrelevant.
Oh, it's irrelevant because you don't want to talk about it? Why would you care? What does it matter? It's just their past. Why would you care about it?
Because somebody who would stoop that low doesn't deserve to live.
Well, why not?
Do you disagree?
Obviously, I'm disagreeing with you about your points here, Michael.
Before we get
Work
into
with
a
me.
debate
You
on whether or not
disagree
the death penalty is for people, I do want to keep it on the main topic.
Okay, the main point is
if he disagrees that if somebody molests someone, they should, because he said he disagreed. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should judge people based on their actions, right? I think that's really an important, good baseline way to judge people. So when someone is committing quote unquote white collar crimes, you're putting them in the most powerful white collar position in the entire world. Yeah, you should be very concerned about what kind of actions they've taken, right? You should judge them based on their actions because they very well are probably going to repeat those actions, right? You should believe who they are when they tell you by demonstrating it, right?
Not at all.
Just because somebody I know many people who in their past, they've, committed assaults, robberies, things like that. People have passed sometimes.
Like sexual assaulters, right?
No, not sexual. I'm talking about, but again, that does
Why
not,
not? What's the
that
difference?
does not mean that they do not experience every day. I'm not talking about sexual crimes. I'm talking about
That's what we're talking
everything
about.
else but that.
Yeah, I know.
Donald Trump being convicted of whatever this.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Hake.
Oh, well, Trump, I think one of the things that you guys are just completely ignoring is that it was lawfare against Trump. The law and order president, they were trying to frame Trump as the not law and order president, as a criminal. But they're the criminals. They're for the criminals. They're for people who are in this very moment here illegally. They're for letting people off on crimes, putting the innocent people at risk. You talk about fear and impending doom. You have out of control crime being allowed to go on in this country. President Trump is putting the National Guard out in order to deal with the crime, not to violate anybody's freedom of speech. And President Trump's so-called white-collar crime was basically a trumped-up charge that nobody took really seriously unless they already hated him. So it's just fake. It's just phoniness. And then the E. Jean Carroll thing, we all know that that was just a silly lawsuit. They basically said, oh, yeah, it's more likely than not that he touched her digitally because he said, grab him by the P word back in 2005. That wasn't even like a real thing. It's not a conviction. So it's all, he's the law and order president. He's implementing law and order and they're calling him a king for it. So I don't buy any of it.
Hey, I appreciate that summary of events, but those were completely misrepresenting the facts. So the E.J. Carroll and the grabber by the P word were two completely separate events. I'm sure that was just another woman that he sexually assaulted and was bragging about.
That was the reason why they said it.
The 34 counts that he was convicted as a felon for were for corruption because he falsified documents that were contributing to his election that he was lying about. So he was trying to misrepresent what money was going where in his election. So he basically won the election corruptly by misrepresenting funds. Is that the kind of person you think should be in charge of the money of our entire country when they are liars about the funds that go to their own election? Like, it wasn't like a 20-year-old thing. It was to get elected.
No, it was from something in 2005, supposedly. And
which one? The 24 counts
both of those things.
The sexual assault.
Both. Well, this so-called sexual assault was from back in the 90s or something. And the reason that the jury thought that, oh, it's more likely than not was because of that grab him by the P word quote. That was
No,
their
they're
whole
not.
basis of the evidence. It
It's
was
completely-
that was
it
their
was not.
evidence.
Those-
It was.
that it's not.
You look into the case.
He didn't
Look into
talk
the
about
case.
a woman, a specific woman, when he made that claim. He just said, "Oh, I
I know.
love doing that to women." It wasn't
Exactly.
about her specifically.
Exactly. So why are you buying it? Because that was the basis for the jury even thinking that was a real thing. Look into the case.
Oh, why would
That
we
was
judge
their
someone
basis.
based on what they say? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a crazy thing to do. You shouldn't judge based on what they say about what they like to do.
Exactly. And he
34
said
counts
they
of-
let you do it. So it wasn't anything to do with so-called sexual assault.
Do you know
So
what
it's
year
phony.
the 34 counts of corruption when he became a felon? Do you know what year that happened? Hey,
2016 or so-called.
2024.
What?
What? Oh my God! It's almost like you don't understand the history of this.
And
man.
none of that is real. It's all a bunch of phony
It's
DAs and phony blah blah blah, and then corrupt
it
juries
can't
who
be real,
already hate
right?
Trump. It's phony.
Really strong argument. What you said is
Fake
unreal.
news.
Everybody
is the
knows
whole-
that was just get Trump.
In what year? 16 or
It's
24?
fake
The whole
news.
time. They were
Oh,
after him ever since
right.
2015 when he said they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crimes,
Right.
they're rapists,
I-
and some I assume are good people. Ever
Were they-
since that time, they've been trying to get him.
I have a question.
So great. Thank you, Hake.
Free Will and Phoebe. Did you guys
Yeah.
vote for Kamala in your primary?
No, I voted for
There
Biden.
was no
who
primary.
chose- I
You don't
voted
have
for
to answer.
Biden.
Phoebe.
There
I mean-
was no primary last year.
Oh yeah. Good point.
So,
There was no Democratic primary.
but what I'm
There was one.
she got
No, there wasn't.
Nova. Yeah, what are you talking about?
He ran unopposed. And we had Biden be our representative who chose Harris as her vice president, and she replaced Biden when he became incompetent, which is what vice presidents do.
Okay.
When
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
long after he was
So
incompetent.
he became incompetent last summer. Is that when he became incompetent?
Yeah, Michael, when she replaced him.
So last summer is when he first became incompetent. You think?
That's what I said.
You
I'm
buy
willing
that?
to say
You really
that,
believe that?
Are
Free
you
will?
gonna make a claim or
yeah.
something, or are you just asking me questions?
I mean, obviously we have absolutely no, you and I and Hake and Phoebe have no proof of it, but
Other than just looking at him.
because you have eyes, you're a smart person, you're very intelligent, you have intellect.
Mhm.
I mean, you can. It doesn't take. A whole
I
lot
would make.
to
I mean,
here.
I got a response.
Please.
I got a response that differs from Will's. I'm willing to acknowledge that Biden was fucked up and demented probably as soon as a year into his presidency, but I would take a fucked up, dementia-addled old senator over an active fascist who wants to destroy American fucking freedom, who literally wants to undo what America is at a fundamental level. I will take a dementia-addled old moron for 4 years over somebody who literally wants to take a blowtorch to the American way of doing things. Yeah,
That's
cool.
the fear
One over the
mongering.
other. Hold on. No. That's not fear mongering.
Yes, it
That
is.
is actively what's going on right now.
No,
That's not what
American freedoms are under active attack right now.
not true.
And hey, this election has passed. There's no reason to fearmonger for Kamala, right?
No,
It
you're
doesn't
fear
make
mongering
sense.
about the violations of what Trump is doing, actively imposing fascism and violating our rights. It's so ridiculous. You guys, not you guys, but the Biden administration and the deep state and all them, they were going after the January 6ers like crazy. And under Obama, they were going after the Tea Partiers and the election integrity people like crazy.
What?
It was all kinds of selective prosecutions. And that's what it was when they prosecuted Trump too. Selective and fake prosecutions.
What is happening right now in this country that's making you think that your democratic freedoms are being like? Can you give one example of
I
something
can
that
give 3.
Trump is doing that is
I can give
taking away
5.
from
I can
all-
give 10.
Okay, give one.
Just stop me when you're done. Okay, stop me when you've heard enough. Okay, number 1, he issued an executive order declaring anyone who is Antifa a domestic terrorist, despite the fact that Antifa is not actually a group; it's a label short for anti-fascist that a lot of people left of center have held. Hold on,
We heard
asked
you
me
the
a
first
question.
time. We heard you.
Hold on. Okay, well, then you already heard me list a reason why Donald Trump is actively attacking the freedoms of Americans. That
How
is
about
an
a real
active
reason?
attack against our freedom of expression.
What right?
That is an active attack against our freedom of expression. Merely because it
Antifa.
doesn't affect you, Hake, doesn't mean that it's not an attack on freedom of expression.
Antifa is an attack on the freedom of expression. All they ever do is attack people at free speech rallies.
Who is they? Hey, Hake, I've got a
Antifa
question
does.
for you. Hake, I've got a question for you. Hake, who is the leader of Antifa?
I don't know. Satan. Satan in their
There
minds.
is no leader of Antifa. It's not a group.
But they're attacking. Antifa is attacking people for their freedom of speech. People for voting for Trump.
How do you know an Antifa? How do you know someone's Antifa, Hake?
Because look at them. You don't know what
How can you
Antifa
tell?
is
No,
attacking
who is
people in the
them?
streets?
Who is
Look at
them?
them.
Who
They
is
look
them,
like
Hake?
Antifa. They look like it.
Are you
is what
pretending
you're
that wasn't
It's a
Antifa attacking the
self-referential
Proud Boys?
definition.
Are you pretending that they're not Antifa when they're
How do you know
dressing
they
in
were?
blacklock?
How do you? You're the one making the
How
claim
do
they
you
were Antifa.
know they
How do
were?
you
Are you
know?
pretending that they're not?
Yeah.
We're not making
You
a
are
claim.
pretending that they're not
You're making
Antifa.
a positive claim.
You're playing
making
dumb.
a positive
Support
claim
your
that they
claim,
were.
Hake.
I'm
I don't
asking
have to
how.
support my claim. Everybody
support your
knows
claim.
Antifa attacks people.
Genius.
Oh, so fallacy, just literally the fallacy of like mass agreement.
You can
Everybody
fallacy all
agrees.
you
It's
want.
literally-
Pretend that
it's a-
Antifa is not attacking people.
It's a well-known Trump tactic.
Antifa doesn't even
Okay,
want
a little
America
bit
to
too much
exist.
interrupting,
Name a
and
right.
Nobody can hear. If everybody's talking at the same time, people can't hear any of you.
You got it.
Can you?
My bad.
Go on. Can you name one right that has been taken away from the five of us here, or the four? I'm sorry, the four of us, because of Donald Trump? What right? What do you? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. I don't see it. I wake up,
the
go to
right
work,
to-
come back, I'm with my family. At what point is one of my rights or your rights being taken based on something that he's done or perpetuated?
His executive order banning flag burning. The Supreme Court has established you have a right to burn the flag. He issued an executive order banning it. So that, to me, that's one less right.
And Michael, what do you think about that?
Banning flag burning? What do I think about it? I think that, in my opinion, I would not burn a flag. However, I might be in the minority in this. I think somebody should, in this country, have a right to burn a cloth. However, I understand the other side's perspective. But again, that is not something that I view as something that affects you and I, or Hake or Phoebe in our everyday life.
I agree.
That thing. That's why I'm asking, what right? Like, okay, I
That's
wake
great
up
that you don't view it.
and I'm like, oh shit, I can't go to supermarkets anymore because now they have a ban on people who were born Jewish going to supermarkets, right? I'm not talking about, oh shit, I wake up in the morning and damn, I can't go outside and burn something. I'm talking about something that really matters.
Michael, that's really good that you don't care about that right being taken away from you, Michael. But that is a right that was taken away from you. That's what you asked for. That's what she gave you, and that's what you need to deal with as he's taking away your freedom of expression.
I'm flipping sides now because we can't fucking burn a flag. Damn. You got
well, that would be consistent with appreciating freedom of speech. Yes.
If anything, freedom of speech has improved with Trump coming back, because there have been people left and right who've been banned from many different social platforms who are now able to come back. And you have these so-called No Kings rallies. They're able to do their little protest and think like they're doing something real. And so everybody's honestly should be happy.
I'm sorry, who banned them?
Who banned what?
You just said people were banned from social media. Who banned somebody from social media?
The commie capitalists.
Was it a private company that has their own policies of how they work, or was it the government institution banning people?
Oh, I believe it was like a little bit of both, because they did say that under the Biden administration, they were banning people.
Under the administration, I would love to see a source on that, because that never happened.
Oh, you didn't hear about that? You didn't hear what? You didn't hear what? You didn't hear what YouTube said. You didn't hear what the Facebook CEO said. You didn't hear what the Twitter CEO said. All three of those.
Phone number, and I'll call him.
Are you pretending that didn't happen?
You didn't. You're making things up.
I didn't make any. I don't make stuff up.
Well, actually, Google also banned them. So if you consider that, Amazon banned it.
But the point is,
here.
Trump has the spirit of the freedom of speech, and with Trump winning, some of these organizations are opening back up again, and that's a positive thing. Definitely.
Yeah, letting Nazis back on and spew their hatred is such a good thing for our country, Hake.
Nazis are not are a little bit hateful, yeah, but the commies have been allowed to run crazy with their hatred. So, and the middle people are insane with hatred. They're no better than the Nazis.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Commie, like, it gets thrown around a lot towards leftists, but I feel like, as someone who's like a hardcore leftist, right? I feel like actual communists are pretty rare. Not like entirely rare, but I feel like they're fairly rare amongst, like the left. And so who exactly are you talking about when you say the commies?
Well, I just mean anybody with people who fearmonger about fascism, for example. That's sort of a tool of communism. That's basically like
Antifa.
Yeah, Antifas. They're definitely pretty communist.
The same nebulous group of people that you
pretend don't exist.
The scary people.
You pretend don't exist when they're attacking people.
Show me any source that they exist, Hake. Show me anything. Anything.
I don't need to. So
I know you don't, because you don't recognize that.
But when I say communism, I'm basically talking about the evil human nature, because that's what communism tends to uplift. What is the evil human nature. They're about it's about lying. It's about accusing Trump of doing what they're doing, and it's about things like that.
So wait, Hake, you brought up communism. Do you want to give everyone a quick definition of what that word means?
No.
Since you I know you
don't. I wouldn't if I was in Hake's position. Yeah, I was about to say, Hake, that definition is so vague as to be useless. I'm sorry.
Right, but I'm just using it.
You basically just, hold on, just quick response. You basically just looped everybody on the left under the label of communist, which is incredibly disingenuous, because as an anarcho-syndicalist and a market socialist in the near term myself, I feel like that's kind of not accurate, It's a lot. I can explain it some other time, but my point is, I'm not a fucking communist, and I'm sorry, excuse my French, but nobody else that I know is, like, on the left is calling themselves a communist. There's quite a few socialists, maybe. Quite a few people call themselves progressives. Quite a few, like, liberal Democrats. But, like, outright hardcore communists, I might know, like, 2 out of the hundreds of leftists that I've got some kind of baseline acquaintanceship with. So I just wish people would quit doing that particular line of rhetoric. That's all.
I'm not trying to be disingenuous. I'm just calling people what I see them as. So I understand you. I mean, you call Trump a fascist. So it's just what you fear, I guess. What I fear is communism. Communism is taking a greater foothold in America than fascism did, I think. But go ahead.
Well, I can explain why I think Trump is a fascist. Mussolini once defined fascism as the marriage of corporate and state power. I would label this marriage an incestuous marriage, which allows them to combine their powers into one, and allows essentially corporate power to do its bidding with not just state approval, but with state force. And Trump exemplifies this perfectly, doing the bidding of the billionaire class constantly, while doing his very utmost best to oppress working class people here at home and continue waging wars abroad as he bombs Venezuelan vessels and continues arming Ukrainian conflict forever and ever until the end of time. I think that these are the hallmark signs, actually, of a fascist. Merely because he has not adopted every single Hitler policy does not mean that he is not a fascist. Merely because he is not Mussolini himself does not a fascist make,
No, I think that what you just described fits more Biden, Obama, and the other presidents more neatly.
They were fascists in their own right, too.
Yeah, they were like ridiculous.
In their own right, too.
But anyway, I call those things commie.
That's the difference between me and you. I can recognize them as fascists too, and recognize that Trump is one also, and to a harsher degree, a more criminal degree.
I call that commie capitalism, where you have like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, and then all these other corporations, the pharmaceutical companies and these big businesses. They can deal with all these burdensome regulations and minimum wage and all that stuff. in order to stamp out the freedom of the people to build their own mom and pop shops and businesses, and basically stamp out the freedoms of the regular people to do regular business. So I can agree with you a little bit on that stuff, but that's not Trump. Trump is more for freedom.
You just referred to as minimum wage as a burdensome
Yeah, definitely.
right to put on corporations.
Yeah, we should get rid of minimum wage, definitely.
Okay, hey, hold on. Would you replace it with robust union representation, or would you just let workers be like abused on the wheel for what, like pennies on the dollar? Like what exactly is the Hake labor plan for ensuring that people's wages don't just fall through the fucking floor?
I don't want to get away because I don't think that Trump really agrees with me necessarily. He's more in your field with that, so I think that you can trust Trump on it. Let's stick with the Trump Kamala thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it back to a question Michael asked a little while ago about freedoms being taken away. And I think it's in line with what we're talking about. Did you guys know, I did this while researching for this debate actually, did you guys know that veterans are banned from abortion care, even in the cases of rape and incest under Trump? Did you know that? So I didn't know that until I did start doing research about what he's been doing in this last year. What do you think about that, Michael?
Got nothing to say on it.
And I know it's not affecting you personally, but I want you to really quick try to pretend like you're a person
Are you
who's in a
asking
situation.
hold on. Are you asking me my view on abortions? Is that what you're segueing into?
I'm asking you to put your mind, stand in the shoes, if you will. If you were a veteran who is a victim of incestuous rape and you want to have an abortion, and now the government says you cannot get that funded through your VA, how would you feel in that situation?
So we're moving into an abortion thing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are we going down this rabbit hole?
I asked you the question, Michael. Interpret it the way you want.
I'm cool with it. I'm just saying. I thought the debate was.
This is about Trump. He's banning it.
You're asking me if I am for or against.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk about Trump and Kamala,
I just asked you a question related to
policies,
Trump.
right?
This is the
It's an
policy
interesting
of Trump.
question.
I'm cool with it. Okay, my
Go.
view on abortion. I'm probably in the minority. I personally, my wife would never have gotten one. However, I am not against abortion.
Well, Trump is.
Okay.
Okay.
Trump is for the exceptions. I don't know about that thing. Yeah, go ahead, Michael. Finish.
People can disagree. You don't have to agree with everything with somebody. That's the thing. Is you feel it's almost like a lot of people are like, all right, if there's one thing that I disagree, forget it. Throw it to the side. We're not going to find a perfect person that we agree. There's 300 million plus people in this country. And by the way, I'm not yelling, okay? I'm just saying we are not going to find someone that we agree 100% with. Listen, Donald Trump, sometimes he's an asshole. So am I. Sometimes he's arrogant. So am I. Sometimes he makes no freaking sense to me. So sometimes my wife tells me that about me, okay? But that doesn't mean that everything he does is useless for our economy, for our country.
Honestly.
So if you're asking me about abortion, guess what? I'm a registered Republican. I lean right, but not on everything, all right? I'm not religious. I'm a freaking atheist, okay? I agree with, I am okay with people getting abortion.
Like
and
to
Trump
be more
is not
concise.
Sorry.
Oh boy, I hate to interrupt, but just to be more concise. Okay, so it sounds like that's kind of like a null topic for you because you're not concerned about it, Michael. So whether Hake wants to take it up, or if we move to a different topic, like ICE throwing people out, namely illegal immigrants.
Well, maybe
I have a question.
I'm cool with that topic.
Briefly, I'm fine. Veterans can pay for it themselves if they're really going to get incestuously raped after having served and all that stuff, and get pregnant from that. They can pay for it themselves. I'm not for killing a baby just because it was from a rape or from incest. So that's my position.
There you go. So at least you're consistent with Donald Trump making it illegal for them to do that.
Trump is for the exceptions. I'm a little surprised that that's the case, but nice. Good for him.
Well,
moving to ICE.
Yeah, ICE.
Right on.
So what do you think about him making the sensitive areas like churches, hospitals, and schools now free game for them to go hunt down people who are undocumented?
I'm for that because I'm for that because because they're taking advantage of these so-called sanctuary places doesn't make it right that they should be hidden there.
Do you think they want to live in America?
I think they do.
Do you think they want to work in America and be productive in America?
Some may.
And do you think they are caring about being in America so bad that they're willing to cross legal boundaries, even at the risk of their own safety? They want to be in America that bad.
Yeah, and that's of grave concern to me because that shows me that they don't actually love America as you claimed. They don't actually have a law and order mindset. They're all about the hookup. And
you
see that in the oh yeah, definitely. That's why he's deporting them.
That's why he's a felon of 34 counts in 2024.
Is that why
we already covered that.
Well, this is the point. It doesn't have a law and order mindset. That's the contradiction of what you just said.
Not really. We already covered that.
Oh, so it doesn't matter anymore.
What about the insurrection attempt?
That wasn't a real insurrection attempt, and Trump was not for that.
They had a gallows.
That was a fake gallows. That wouldn't have hung anybody.
They brought a gibbet. Hey,
what's a gibbet?
Oh man, hey, come on.
What's a gibbet?
It's an archaic word for a gallows.
Yeah, but that was an art piece. It wouldn't have hanged anybody.
I don't. Yeah, but that's the point.
It was symbolic, man.
Admit that it was a coup attempt.
It symbolized. It symbolized treason. What the punishment for treason?
Yeah, that they were trying to commit in favor of Trump.
No, they were accusing the other side of treason. And
Mike Pence. People who are treasonous. Hake, what do you do?
Under lawful, orderly way, you go about the hanging. But they weren't going to hang anybody.
Kill them? Is that what you just said?
Lawfully,
that's crazy.
Well, it's not. I get that those people some of them may have been a little crazy. They fell into the hype. They fell into the fear, and they should have just remained calm. Like Trump said, we have to have peace. So that doesn't reflect poorly on Trump.
He did say we have to have peace. That's true.
Indeed.
He's the peaceful president. I can agree with that for sure. Nice. I have a question for Michael about this.
Nothing says peace like ice, you know?
He's the most peaceful president. For Michael, I really wanted to ask this, and it's related to ice. Michael, I want you to, again, use the empathy that we were talking about before. If you were in the shoes of a Mexican who was afraid for your safety of your family, and you thought the safest route was for you to cross over illegally into America, would you do that?
So I need to preface. I know I do a lot of prefacing. You're like, just answer the damn question, right? Okay. So I feel very strong about this because I am not for letting people come here illegally. My mom was born in 1947 in a very impoverished country in Africa. She came here in 1963 legally. She had to take some boats and some plane rides to get here, and she had to wait a very long time. My grandfather escaped a concentration camp. My great aunt escaped a concentration camp, and she was in a country where Jews were in the minority, and they were just it was shit. She was living in shit stuff, so they had to do things right to come here. So she always instilled in me because of that there's no excuse for you break the law, there's consequences. All right. So it's like, all right, if somebody is in a bad situation in Mexico or whatever, I fully understand that's horrible what's going on. But that doesn't mean that just forget the laws of America. It's like, all right, guess what? If you make it in and you fly under the radar, more power to you. I'm not going to be the one to rat on you. I'm going to let you do your job and everything. You can go work, whatever. But if you're here illegally and you get caught and you have consequences, how can you then be upset? You played the game, you lost. So
sounds like you're not that excited about ICE coming into churches and hospitals and schools and arresting children.
Am I excited? What are they doing? Are they going in and rounding up people who are illegal
or undocumented?
On the whole,
illegal. They're documented. They're just illegal.
No, they're not documented. That's what they are.
No, they're documented. In some cases, fraudulently documented, but they're documented.
By who?
I understand
who's documenting them.
No, continue, Michael.
I was saying, I understand that a lot of people who come here illegally, they are productive, and a lot of them are good. And quite frankly, I don't really even have a problem with ones that are productive members of society. But however, no, hold on. However, if they're caught, hey, that's
Right is
part of
right.
the rule. That's the law. So yes, if that's ICE's job to, go in and very amicably, round up people who are here illegally, okay.
So can you address my hypothetical at the beginning? That if you were in this situation and your family was in danger and that was your best option, would you do it?
Probably.
Hake, can you answer that question too?
But hold on. But that does. But I would do it because I take accountability. I would do it knowing that, all right, I'm going to do this, but stuff can get really ugly, and if it does, the consequences are like this. But I'm going to take the chance.
I
And
appreciate the
I'm not gonna get
empathy,
everyone
Michael.
else because I got caught.
No, I feel like you answered that question with true empathy, and I actually really respect that. Now, Hake, can you do the same?
I have no idea what I would do. I might do it. I don't know.
See, you can't do the intellectual honesty Michael is capable of. He actually genuinely considered the situation and recognized that he might do an illegal act to save certain people he loved, but you can dodge the question because you know.
I just said I don't know. I answered your question. It's a yes, no, I don't know.
We're not
Think
talking
about it.
It's a I don't know.
Think, Michael.
Oh, what you're
Hake,
talking
sorry.
about is
Hake.
you don't like.
I am thinking. I don't know.
Think, Connor.
All right, so
Uh,
are there, unless you guys want to explore this topic more, are there any other topics that you
Yes.
guys would like to explore, like the economy or anything else?
Yeah.
Well, briefly, I think that Trump is doing a great job on like the foreign policy, the best he can with the mess that he was left with by Biden and Kamala
what has he
with
done?
these wars and stuff.
For example?
For example, opening up the lines of communication with Hamas, with Putin, with Bibi Netanyahu. All these guys are. Biden didn't like Bibi. Obama didn't like Bibi, and so they were just not. And he wasn't even talking to Putin. How are you going to get peace that way? You're not.
You're a big negotiating with terrorists kind of guy.
You have to eventually. I mean, Hamas. It was reported that. Let me briefly say that it was reported that Hamas started to take Trump's peace thing seriously when he found out that Trump did not like Bibi bombing Qatar. So Hamas trusts Trump, and you should too.
Hamas trusts him, so you should too. Be like Hamas.
But anyway, he's doing a great job compared to like Biden and Kamala. They did horrible.
When Trump was in office, he kept Xi Jinping in check. He kept Vladimir Putin in check. How? So okay.
Different ways.
So back.
How do you keep China in check?
How do you keep China in check? We had what were they called? These trade wars where we were basically with tariffs. He doesn't care.
Trump was throwing a tantrum.
That's not a new thing in this presidency. You know that, right? That's not like a new thing that he.
Do you think that exhibits strength, throwing a tantrum like that with your money?
I think it only seemed like it was a tantrum because
it did feel like
because Obama wasn't focused on that, and then when he came out, Joe Biden was so tame with it that it just made it look like a tantrum, but really he gives a shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gave a shit, but it still looked like a tantrum, Michael. You just admitted it.
You know what? And even his first, month in office, it still looked like a tantrum when he was talking about these really high tariffs with China, France, Canada. When nothing's been going on for 4 years and stuff is going to shit, and then somebody comes and they're like, all right, we need to start this cleaning. As soon as you start cleaning, it looks like, oh my God, stuff looks really clean really fast, but there's still dust everywhere.
But Michael, can you at least admit that those tariffs are going to harm American companies? Can you admit that?
I agree that in the short term, tariffs can not only harm American companies, they can harm the consumer in the short term.
Yeah.
But in the long term, they absolutely can help. Rome was not built in a day. And even when he got in office, I even told my wife,
wasn't built on tariffs either.
I said, look, shit's going to get probably a little worse before it gets better. You don't just flip a switch and stuff gets better. It's not a perfect system.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not yelling. I'm sorry.
In what way is it going to be better, Michael? In the long run, why is it going to be better?
We won't be taking advantage.
Sorry, what?
He said we'll find out.
I said we'll find out.
And I said we won't be taken advantage of by like China and all these these other countries as badly. And hopefully
Or we
we
just
can
won't
bring
trade
a
with
little
them.
bit of, hopefully we can bring a bit of our own manufacturing back and all those things.
Or we just won't trade with them, which would be
Oh
bad
no,
for everybody.
we're still trading
That
with all
won't
of them.
happen. That's
No,
not
but
gonna
there's
happen.
less trade because of tariffs, right? People can't trade as much because they have to pay more money, right?
No, they do pay. That's why that's part of the reason why we are paying more.
Right. So they can't
feel
trade as
like-
much.
No, they
Because it costs
still
more
trade as
money.
much. No, but we're
We're
still
raking
gonna,
in the bucks, I heard.
yeah.
It's
It
the
doesn't
opposite.
slow
I
down
feel
the
like
trade, it
there's
just
a-
costs more.
Nice.
I feel like there's a point on the board here.
Yes.
I feel like there's a point on the board here that I just want to clarify real quick. Like,
Yes.
you guys realize it's not like that. Like, there's no combination of policies short of holding a metaphorical gun to the heads of American manufacturers of goods that would actually make manufacturing come back to America. I mean, it's a logistical fucking nightmare. The vast majority of manufacturing that was in America, it's not like the jobs got shipped over, but the equipment stayed in the factories. All that equipment got sold to producers in Mexico, in Venezuela, and Cuba, and Panama. Well, maybe not Cuba, but you get what I'm saying. It got sold to producers in China and Vietnam and Thailand and all over the country, or not all over the country, all over the world. I'm thinking too fucking globalist. Anyway, got sold to people all over across the world, and the factories that were previously the home of American manufacturing have been left to rot, meaning that even if companies did decide to move back to America and start manufacturing things here, it would require a $1 trillion restoration project for massive amounts of American factories. It just seems to me like it would be a way better idea to invest in some kind of like for example, invest in green energy and renewables, right? And producing that sort of thing here in America, creating new manufacturing instead of trying to bring all the existing manufacturing that we used to do back. I feel like that is regressive. I feel like we need to be looking forward to the future and trying to produce things that will benefit our country, that will stay in this country, and that we can produce in this country. Because there's a shit ton of things that are like that. But I don't think we're ever going to be the home of auto manufacturing anymore or anything like that. So I just feel like, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I just feel like it's a moot point for politicians to pursue in the way that Trump seems to be pursuing it.
Well, I think Trump is doing both, bringing new industry, and I agree with you. We should definitely build up nuclear energy again, open up that again.
I would be fine with nuclear energy.
But
and
already
hydropower. I'm not a conventional leftist when it comes to energy.
Auto manufacturing is already coming back a little bit with Canada. Unfortunately, Canada lost some of their jobs, and some of those jobs are now in America. So a little bit of both of those things. Trump has a can-do attitude, and your can't-do attitude is why you're not the president, Phoebe.
No, that would be because I'm 27 years old.
Oh, well, that too. Maybe you can run with maybe you can run as Nick Fuentes' running mate in a decade or so.
That sounds realistic.
Fascist commie 2032 or whenever.
And an anti-fascist and an actual fascist run together in the presidency. We'll link hands and we'll skip through the Rose Garden.
I really think that Trump is bringing back a lot of unity as well. Agreed. Whereas Kamala was very divisive.
Oh, dude, no, she was not. Come on.
No,
it's
true.
Least truth that you've said all night, Hake.
Kamala was crying about racism. She even accused Biden of racism. That was ridiculous.
What do you mean when she cried about racism? What do you mean by that?
She was like, I was that little girl.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
And then one of her last tweets, she was like, I was that little girl on that forced busing bus, Biden, that you didn't want to have happen. And it's ridiculous. Everybody knows that this forced integration stuff has been a disaster for the race relations. And then
so keep it separate is what you think?
I mean, it should be free to be separate or not. And then as far as one of her last tweets was promoting like MLK, which is a bunch of communism again. and division and victimhood. That's not right.
Sorry,
Trump
sorry.
has a
Did you just say MLK is communist?
yeah, big time.
Okay, Michael,
He
you
was
agree with him,
socialist.
right?
I mean, he actually was an actual socialist.
Socialist is one thing, but Michael, do you agree with your partner here that MLK was a communist?
No, I don't know enough about. I have no problem with MLK. I don't.
Okay, well, Hake has a huge problem with him.
I don't know how we transition.
Oh yeah, he was nasty. He was fake. He's like
oh,
Obama.
dude, what? Okay.
MLK, nasty and fake
Now
on
we've
the
got a
record from
spicy
Hake.
topic.
Yeah, I was waiting for this.
Can we switch gears?
Yeah, me
Yes.
too.
I bet you want to switch gears, Michael, off that one, don't you?
No,
blame you.
I have a list of notes from
Nice.
from your opening.
Please.
So I want. Is that okay if we switch gears a tiny bit?
Yeah,
Let's do
go
it.
for it.
I'm cool with it.
Okay, so one of your notes you listed was that
Mhm.
Trump has bankrupt companies.
Yep.
And
6.
I mean, okay, cool. So I mean, I don't know if you know. I mean, myself being a former business owner, a lot of people I know being former business owners, you know, a lot of people who are very, very successful, they have
Mhm.
bankrupted many companies. I don't think that, the reason I bring this up is because it was in your slide and I hear it a lot, but I don't see the parallels of it. Because when you talk about bankrupting a company, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into it, because you can have a company that's doing absolutely great things for the community. It has a great product. And sometimes there are so many reasons why a company could fold. And sometimes bankruptcy is the right thing for certain companies. So, and I keep hearing this point come up, but Trump is a great, an excellent businessman. And I think the fact that he had no prior political background, I think that was just awesome. I mean, he had one of the best upsets in history when he beat Hillary, in my opinion, better than any sport upset. Like it's like nobody saw that coming. And you know, he is a brilliant businessman. We wouldn't be talking about him if he weren't. And by the way,
Mhm.
every politician I believe that's up top, including Joe Biden and Kamala, they're all freaking brilliant. Okay. You don't get to that position by being a freaking dummy. Okay. So but I just don't see why this is always thrown in his face, because it has no bearing on anything. But you brought it up. So I wanted to bring up and state my opinion on it.
Michael, real quick, if you wanted to get brain surgery, would you get a brain surgeon or would you get a veterinarian to do it?
I would get a brain surgeon
Why?
because that's his specialty.
Right. So if you wanted to have someone run for political office of the most powerful country in the world, would you want someone familiar with politics, or would you rather someone who's familiar with non-politics like
Yes.
business?
I love that you brought that up. You
Mhm.
do not have to be a politician to be concerned about the people around you, to understand what is going on around you, to be able to see that, oh, you know, my 401k is tanking, prices are going up, you know, shit's falling apart in my neighborhood. You don't have to be a politician to see that.
No, but you
don't
do need a politician to know how to mitigate that through legislation.
No, you got to
right?
be a person of the people. That's it. You got to listen to your community. You got to listen to what people want, what's going on, and what has to change. You
Right.
do not have to be a politician to understand what needs to happen in your community. I 100% disagree with you there.
I agree with him a little bit. I agree with him a little bit there, Michael, in that Trump was so subverted by the deep state and by all these judges and different things in his first term. And he came back ready, and he did executive order after executive order after executive order, making a lot happen in his second term. He came back much more prepared. And even still, I mean, he's going to get subverted constantly. That's what happens with politics. That's why I don't really expect much. We have such a corrupt group of people, morally corrupt group of people in America. I mean, basically all of America, left and right, are morally corrupt. That's why I don't really have high hopes for the country. But Kamala is part of that nastiness that was basically just dragging America down. And Trump came in with, he's been knowing for decades what's wrong, many of the things that are wrong with the country. He's been complaining about China taking advantage of us and all that stuff for decades. So he's, I agree with you in that he's an outsider, and that's a good thing. But I also agree with with free will, that I'm glad that he's coming back better prepared now. I'm kind of glad that he lost in 2020, so he could come back so strongly.
Yeah, Michael, are you
With the
familiar with
vengeance,
lobbying?
in other words.
Lobbying? Are you aware much about
Justice.
the concept of lobbying, Michael?
You want me to give you the dictionary definition?
Well, no, just off the top of
No.
your head, do you know what lobbying is? Do you know what it is?
In the sense of like you're lobbying for something, like we're trying to
Politics. Yeah.
bring.
So your job as a politician 90% of the time is lobbying, right? And lobbying isn't something that you just intuitively understand how to do. You have to learn how to do it. And more effective, you have to learn how to do it effectively. And that doesn't just come to you by running businesses, right? You have to understand how you need to lobby, who you need to talk to, how you need to get things done to effectively have legislative change through a very large group of people with Congress and the Senate and the House, right? This isn't just like, oh, he's a stand-up guy, I could have a beer with him. No, he also has to know what the heck he's doing, be familiar with the policy and procedures of how the law works, and more than just, oh, I know how to make money. And if all we care about is making money in this country, there's lots of ways we can do it that is not in the interest of in the interest of the people. Right?
Are you implying that the last 3 presidents we haven't that our deficit hasn't gotten worse? Are you implying that?
The deficit has gotten worse, yes, but it's a difference between do we try to invest money in the long-term solutions or short-term solutions? And Donald Trump really wants to make it seem fantastic with the short-term solutions, but doesn't give heedance to long-term solutions.
I disagree. I think things like tariffs are long-term. Things that are going to be very ugly like that in the very short term, those are things that people will absolutely panic, because as soon as something looks like it's going south, like bad, they're like, oh, look, there it is. See, he's already been in for 2 months and this is happening and that's happening. We told everybody. And, stuff just keeps incrementally getting better.
Nice.
Is it better? You think it's better, Michael?
I believe it's trending. I don't think it's where it needs to be yet. Absolutely not. He came onto an on fire building. So it's like, oh, we put the fire out. Does the building look good? No.
I asked you before, what is the long-term benefit these tariffs are going to have? And you said, let's see. Do you want to try to answer that question again? What is the benefit these tariffs are going to provide us?
There are many different things that can come from. I mean, if you want, I can come prepared next time with a long list of.
No, you should already have the defense on these. Why is this going to benefit? Why are we suffering? What is the benefit of this? The answer is you want China to fold, but the real reality of the situation is they're not going to fold. They're our biggest adversary. They're going to hold out just as long as we can, right? They have the manufacturing there. They can stand the heat. They can stand the heat, right? Longer than we can.
Well, let's see who can.
Yeah.
And that's what Donnie's like. He's like, okay, we're gonna see. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
See.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
that's thing we don't have any control over that.
That's, in my opinion, what things that Kamala couldn't.
Yeah.
Don't give heedance to the business owners who are going to suffer through this or potentially lose their entire business because of it. Don't worry about them. Worry about him, right?
Trump is looking out for them too.
He's trying to risk.
Trump is looking out for those business people too, big time.
No, not when they lose their business because they can't pay tariffs.
He's looking out for them. He's already making deals with them. So don't worry about that.
Go ahead. Give more details.
I heard an example just this week. I don't remember what it was, but I saw some headline where he was gonna work with some group of people who are going to be hurt by the tariffs short term. So
really, what was he going to do? What was he going to do for them?
I forget.
Damn, that's unfortunate that you forgot.
Are you pretending that Kamala is? Are you really pretending that Kamala is better for the economy than Trump?
You're so close to making a point.
Oh yeah, she would have been.
God.
Yes, no, she would have been.
No, how so?
4 years that she was in. That's the thing. Like,
okay, I can give you an example. Hey, no, hold on. I can give an example. I was asked. I can give an example. She was going to pressure Congress to institute federal limits on price increases for food producers and grocers, and that would, over the long term, make groceries more affordable as wages continued to grow with the other measures that she would have no doubt enacted, as well as the enduring union activity that likely would have continued during a Kamala Harris regime. So there you go.
AI. You just Googled it.
No.
Up on the
because
AI.
She said it's smart, that means it's AI.
Price controls don't work, man.
Dude, No, it's funny. I either get accused. No, it's just funny you say that because I either get accused of like being AI or being a cokehead. I'm neither. I'm a
not
real
thinking
person and I'm not a cokehead, but I get accused of both of those things pretty regularly, and I think it's kind of funny. And it's all because I talk fast and use big words. And I apologize if that sometimes makes it sound like I'm
You got to slow down. Look, I'm a registered
like ChatGPT. Okay.
The big words go over my head.
You know what? You guys
You
brought
know
up.
what? I knew I like you, Michael.
Michael's
got-
good.
You guys brought up you guys brought up affordable housing and education and price controls on this and that, and that stuff doesn't work. It's better to free up
It
the
does.
thing. What you don't realize is that when you subsidize and do this affordable housing stuff, all you're doing is raising the price and cost of housing. That's all that's happening.
When you increase supply,
No.
prices obviously increase as well. That's the natural order of economics, right? Hank?
You and I are paying for those subsidies.
Exactly.
Through taxes, right?
No, and then when it's kind of like when you're subsidizing education, the cost of education continues to rise.
I like the cost of education. What is the benefit of education, Hake?
Getting brainwashed mostly nowadays.
Yes, that's exactly right. You're just going to make your civilization more angry. That's why we should defund it. See, you agree with my
One of the
opener
reasons
there.
I do. I totally did. Trump said he'll use tariff revenue to bail out farmers. Politico. 25th of September. There's your little answer for your little thing. Trump is working with the people. He's more reasonable than you're giving credence
farmers.
to.
That sounds like socialism, Hake. I can't believe you.
I know, but he's doing it in a pro-American way. He's kind of like a Christian. He's sort of a Christian communist.
Pro-American.
He's like
oh Lord. Actually, you know what? Hey, no, wait, hold on. You just touched on something, Hake, and I don't know if you'll do it. You probably won't, but if you're interested, look up Christian anarchy because it is actually a movement. You probably were just joking.
No. I've heard of Christian
anarchy. It's
anarchy.
worth looking into. It's interesting. It's interesting as a movement.
Nice. But so don't worry about it, guys.
Michael and Hake, or even Phoebe, has anyone here been trying to purchase a home in the last 3 years or?
Yeah, right before COVID hit.
I am in.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I'm incredibly privileged to have land that my family bought way back in the 1940s. It ain't much, but there's no mortgage and no rent, so I luckily don't have to look for one in this horrible market.
Right on.
Awesome.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is in the last year, the housing market has been in the trash. And Donald Trump has literally been defunding housing initiatives to get more affordable housing in the pipeline. And Kamala was going to do the exact opposite. So this is the worst possible thing you could. This is like putting gasoline on a fire. Is the way Trump's responding to the housing crisis.
I'm for that because a lot of times, they're pretending that the homeless crisis, for example, is a housing crisis, but that's not true. They're doing it's more of a drug crisis and a enablement crisis. They're enabling criminals and drug addicts to be out on the street. Yeah, they are. They're feeding the homeless.
No, hold on. Hey, hold on. Yeah, hold on. It's a chicken and egg problem, though. It's a chicken and egg problem, and let me illustrate how. Right? Those programs. It makes no sense to try and feed the homeless in a city that ain't got no homeless. Right? You agree with that, surely? You know, why make all that food if there ain't no homeless people around? The only time people set up a food kitchen is when there are a bunch of homeless people. So it's not that it cannot be enablement because all the things you're identifying as enablement are consequences of having a lot of homeless people, like an unaddressed homelessness crisis in your city. These are outcroppings of something like that. That's all I want to say.
Okay, nice. but it is totally enablement. We shouldn't be doing it too. I mean, it's kind of a vicious circle.
Do you think we should just let people die? Do you think we should just let people die on the street then? Is that the solution?
I think that if Trump is able to fix the economy like he's doing, then the people who are sensible but just desperate will be able to get on their feet. And then there's some people who belong in prison or institutionalized. Maybe they can work forced volunteer work or something. There's stuff that they can be doing better.
Have you ever been homeless, Hake?
No.
I'm just curious. Okay, so every time, I'm assuming you probably haven't been podcasting for a living your whole life. I'm assuming at some point you probably had to put in some job applications. I know my working class asses certainly had to. And there's a line on that application that makes it rather hard for homeless people to complete. And that line is address. Sometimes phone number too. Nowadays, a lot of people that are homeless have a phone, so they can usually fill that one out. But when it comes to address, where are you going to put down the address of the Walmart that you sleep at?
You know, I get that it's tough.
Receive mail there.
I get that it's tough for the homeless. I get it. But the point is, people like Kamala and their ilk, like the whole left coast, has made it so that the homeless are able to live more comfortably. And meanwhile, you're destroying businesses because nobody wants to go into these areas that are filled with the homeless, and many of them are committing crimes. And so it's a major problem that's just killing and filling blight with the area. You're punishing the decent people and putting them at risk. So it's not right. It's crazy.
There's no punishment. It's a natural outcropping of late stage capitalism. It's a natural outcropping of unaddressed economic disparity. Sorry, Will, go on.
No, you're exactly right, Phoebe. And I also want to ask, hey, it sounded like you were talking about drug addiction and that. Would you say homelessness has more to do with mental illness than actual not having a home?
Yeah, big time.
Right. So how are you going to address that?
We would defund single mothers because a lot of these people but anyway, this is getting away from what Trump is doing. Trump knows how to deal with the homeless. The liberals don't.
Defund single mothers to help the
because
homeless.
Yeah, I can see why you want to shift away from it after that point.
Nothing does good. Nothing does.
The poor people in the volcano. That's
nothing does good for a child's mental health than having his or her father. Yeah, a father. Not a crazy angry mother who's just enabled to.
Well, good for you now. They're not going to have.
Oh, that's bullshit.
No, it's true.
No, it's not, dude. Hey, you've got a stereotype of single moms in your head that I think is reinforced by certain media you watch. But as a person who was raised by a single mom who actually ended up later getting back with the person she divorced, I know my life is a '90s movie. It's whatever, but. For my teenage years, she was a single mom. And my mom, she had some anger issues sometimes, but it mostly coincided with, certain, drinking events and shit. I come from a pretty Irish family. Outside of that, she was, incredibly loving and worked hard to support me and her and everything and encouraged me to get a job when I turned 16 and all that shit. I feel like it's a pretty fucking wide variety of experiences that happens when a person is raised by a single mom. I don't feel like it's right to loop everybody in under one standard, though. Would you agree with that? Hake? I know, but it's kind of wrong of you to do that.
No, I don't think so, because it's not that I'm looping them. I'm just saying we need to defund this thing that's encouraging single motherhood, because it's not ideal. You and I both agree.
You think they want to be single?
I raise a kid with
it's enablement.
Dude, yeah, exactly. No, hey, dude, listen, trust me. As a person who raises a kid with a partner, I would fucking die if I had to do it by myself. Not literally, but you know what I mean? I would be ripping my fucking hair out. It's hard enough when you've got a partner. Trust me, nobody wants to do it single. Not for any amount of food stamps, okay?
Yeah, it's the labor and the intellectual labor that's involved with raising a child can never be. If you give me $2,000 a month, it's still going to not be able to compensate for how much labor you're going to have to do with taking care of a kid. You want to make single motherhood harder, Hake, is what you want. So I don't think anyone, and especially single moms, is going to be supporting any kind of policy like that. But again,
oh, he cut out.
Answer was about mental health, and you don't have an answer to how you're going to mitigate mental health, so you really don't have an answer to homelessness at all. But of course, if you're concerned about mental health, the answer is fund accessible medicine, right? Fund medicine that you can access even if you can't pay for it, because obviously you're mentally ill anyway, you're homeless. So these people need medicine, and they're not going to be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps to go get it, right? In this capitalist industry we're in.
No, medicine is driving people crazier, man.
I'm not saying put pills in their pockets. I'm saying give them mental health treatments that can include all sorts of things, from therapy to
talk therapy.
People have gotten crazier with this mental health stuff. As this mental health stuff has risen, people have gotten crazier and more anxious and more. You know, these educated women that you were propping up, they're more miserable and mentally ill than ever.
You think they're happier in somewhere like Saudi Arabia? where
No, they
don't
were
have rights?
happier. They were happier 20,
Saudi
40.
Arabia.
They were happier 40 years ago in America.
What about Saudi Arabia?
I don't
Wait a
care
minute,
about Saudi
hold on,
Arabia. I'm
hold
talking about
on.
America.
What? Well, Saudi Arabia proves the point is whereas women don't have
No,
rights.
it does not. It's not
So
about
what was-
rights.
What was better than with whatever you're talking about, Hake? What's better? What was better than
They had families together.
why?
They respected men. They weren't about hating men and being scared of
What's the root cause?
climate change and all that other stuff. The encouragement of anger has been crazy.
That
on left
damn
and right.
education making people angry.
No, it's not just education. It's just across the board. Look at social media, how angry people are encouraged to be. This is outrage bait. And Trump is the solution to that.
I'm just curious, and maybe it's a pointless question, but hey, what if you had to guess, during what era did first wave feminism start? Like years. I'm talking like, was it 1950s, 1910s? What? Just if you
probably
had to
in
guess,
the probably in the 18. I would guess like in the 1800s, before the right around the time of like the Civil War and all that stuff.
Okay, actually, you're not that far off. Depending on how you want to look at it, a lot of people do trace the origins of first wave feminism to the temperance movement, which did grow out of the era immediately after the Civil War and kind of before it, but it gained a lot of traction in the rebuilding efforts after. Right, exactly. Prohibition was a result of the temperance movement, and eventually women getting together on that issue made them realize they could get together on other issues. So at least you know that much. At least you know your history that much. There are a lot of people in your position that make the arguments that you make that seem to think that that basically Tumblr invented all of feminism sometime circa 2015, you know?
No, it's been a long decline.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
A long decline. Okay. All right. It's been a long fight against people like you to get some semblance of universal human rights. Like,
but I'm a nice guy. I let you have your freedom of speech.
You are a nice guy. You're a nice guy.
And so is
That's
Trump.
the problem. That's the problem. That's yes, he is. Well, yeah, I mean, like, whatever. But here's the thing. Hey, I can have a conversation with you. I mean, I don't know if you like. If you look into me, I literally spend all of my content time arguing with conservative. It's my bread and butter.
But back
right?
to Trump.
So I can talk to anybody,
Yeah.
and you've been fun.
Or Kamala.
You know, right? So sorry. Back to Trump. My bad. You're right. I'm getting far abridged.
Trump is very nice to the feminists. He's putting women on. He's great for women, for everybody.
And I want to say a statement about the feminism movement, and it's something I actually came to terms with not too far away at this point. Feminism, and this isn't really, I don't think Hake is going to agree with this, but this is the truth about feminism. Feminism isn't to advocate for females to have more powers than men. The point of feminism is to have equality to men. It is not to make women better. And I think that's been misinterpreted because lots of men feel that way. But feminism, the point is to have equality to the sexes. And I don't think there's many women in this country who would want to be feeling unequal to men.
But Trump is bringing that equality. And what you just said doesn't really bear out in reality. But Trump is for what you just described, honestly.
For example?
He's putting all these women in power, which is not a wise decision in my opinion, but he's helping the economy, which is the best thing for women. He's helping with law and order, which is what these single mothers want, because they're desperate for their children to be on safer streets. And so it's overall a great thing for men and women and children, Trump being in office. Whereas Kamala, what a joke.
This reminds me of something I said was going to bring up earlier. I feel like you keep referencing crime going up and there being a lot of crime in America's streets, but crime has been going down since the 90s.
Right.
Like, there's been a couple of upticks here and there,
with
but
Obama,
it's overall been going down since the 90s.
Right, and those upticks are because of Black Lives Matter and other communists like Antifa encouraging and them getting into office with Soros DAs and stuff like that. Shout out to the Jews. I love the Jews. But all these liberals being kind of pro-crime.
Have you heard of the Unite the Right rally?
Yeah. Yes. That was mostly the alt left attacking the right
God.
wing.
That is just the most
Oh,
delusional
boy.
statement
No,
I
it's
think
true.
I've ever heard in my life.
Now I grant that there are angry people
That's
on
a
many
hell of a
sides.
conspiracy theory.
There was violence on many sides. All right,
That's the Trump line. That's it. He
All
did
right,
it. He
Trump.
said the Trump line.
and
That's
there
so
was
good.
very
Yep,
fine
yep.
people on
Fine people. Yes,
on both
that's
sides.
it. Oh my God, he's on a roll.
He's
All right,
right. He
Mr.
told the
President.
truth.
Oh my
I
God.
love that Trump is a
Those
truth
Nazis
teller.
were nice guys. That's right, Donald Trump. Oh my God.
Some
so
of them
right.
are. Nick Fuentes he's a so-called Nazi, right? He's like a great
He
guy.
is, yes.
He has that
That's why
Trump
we need
spirit.
more of them in
Nazi,
office.
like-
Let's have a Nazi president. Come on.
He's not for malice. He's not for
Oh, he's a
hurting
nice
anybody.
Nazi. He's a good
Yeah,
Nazi.
I mean,
Uh,
Nazism is not necessarily the problem. It's the anger and murderous spirit that's the problem, and everybody has that. That's why I was talking about those angry centrists. There's like angry centrists who are assassinating people,
what
or
is
trying to.
Nazism in your opinion? If you don't think Nazism is the problem, what is it?
It's like pro-white, I guess.
Like white superiority.
Nationalist, socialist. Yeah, I guess superiority. Yeah.
Well, it's about racial like superiority, right?
Yeah, it tends to be kind of Christian, I guess, or sometimes in some cases more atheist or pagan.
But obviously it's anti-Semitic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't believe in that word. That's not a real thing. Yeah, but a lot of them do hate and blame Jews, and they're insane about it.
Okay.
But Nick Fuentes doesn't seem like that. So a lot of these people are being labeled a scary word in order to pretend like they're the boogeyman, when in reality these Antifa communists are doing a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah, you can find some right-wing terrorists too. They feel like they're forced to be terrorists in their own country, kind of like the Taliban and all them. And that's not right. They shouldn't be doing that. That's why Trump is a solution for peace. Trump displays no anger. He is telling after the Charlie Kirk assassination. I'm so glad Trump is president for that. And that woman who is that Ukrainian refugee who was murdered on the train allegedly. I'm so glad that Trump is president because he's not inflaming tensions. He's just pointing out the leftists are hateful, evil, vicious people too. It's not just the right. So I'm glad that Trump is president because Kamala would not be a solution. She's a divider, not a uniter.
I want to
Okay,
hear
hold
Michael's
on.
opinion.
Hey, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go,
good
Phoebe.
point.
Go, Phoebe.
No, you're right.
I was gonna
We
say I
haven't
want to
heard
hear
from Michael in a minute.
I want to hear Michael's opinion on Nazism, and since Hake doesn't think it's a problem, Michael, do you think Nazism is a problem?
Do I think Nazis were a problem? Is that what you're asking me?
The concept of Nazism, is that a bad thing?
If by Nazism you mean people who want to eliminate a whole race of people, yeah, of course that's a problem.
That's evil.
But
That's usually what people think of when they think of
again,
Nazis.
Yeah,
right?
but again, there are often times when people get mislabeled. Like just because Nazism exists, okay, that doesn't mean that the person that you are labeling, or maybe you're misunderstanding something they said or did, that doesn't make them a Nazism by you saying, do you understand what Nazism? Of course I freaking understand what Nazism is.
Right, but first I think we need to
it's
agree.
absolutely horrible.
Well, well, you say it's absolutely horrible, but Hake over here says, it's not really that big of a problem. So I think we need to first establish, is it even a problem?
I think when he says, is it a problem? I think he's saying he doesn't view it as widespread as you think it is in this country. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I think when he says it's not a problem, I think that's what he means. In a vacuum, of course, I don't think that he thinks it's okay for a group of people to go and kill another group of people.
Obviously not.
Hake, is that what you meant? Is it just not a problem because it's not very largely seen, or is it not a problem because the ideas of Nazism is not that bad?
The issue with the Nazis is their anger. And when you're angry, you believe lies. Just like you believe in the racism lie because you're an angry, prideful, arrogant, brainwashed person. Same thing with them when they can't let go of the Jew thing or whatever.
They can't see what you're talking about. What racism thing?
They can't see the evil in their own hearts. They can only see the evil in the Jews. It's like blaming
But that's what Nazism is.
I know they're just blaming the drug. They're blaming the drug dealer rather than blaming both the drug dealer and the drug addict. You have to blame both you have to point each group or each person to what the person did wrong, and
do you
they're
think there could
ignoring
be-
the wrong
Hold
of
on.
themselves.
What does this have to do with the
That-
topic?
It's about hatred and division, and so Trump is a uniter. He doesn't display that hatred. He's not for the Nazis. He's not for the commies. He's for everybody. He's for the people.
I agree with you, and I would even maybe state that I feel like Trump is one of the most misunderstood people like on the planet sometimes, but that's because he's so freaking brash with a lot of the stuff he said. He doesn't have good bedside manner, and like you're supposed to have when you're president, whatever. I would be just as shitty a president if I were. Not to say I am because I'm a piece of shit, but yeah, he's very brash, so he's labeled, he's misunderstood often.
Well, I think the actual reason why it's brought up is the statement when Trump says there's good people on both sides, when he was comparing a group of Nazis that unite the right versus some protests that were anti-Nazi that were saying you Nazis are bad guys. When you compare those two and say there were good people on both sides, you're implying there's a place that's appropriate for Nazis in this country. Now, Michael, do you think there's a place for Nazis, there's room for Nazism in this country, or would you be against that in this country?
Would I be against if a group of people went and tried to eliminate another group of people? Absolutely. But am I again? And again, I grew up
That's
Jewish.
good.
I come from a Jewish family. Okay. I believe that people can, preach whatever the fuck you want, right? You say whatever you want. Obviously, you can't take physical
Right.
actions against people. Absolutely not. But we live in the greatest country in the world.
Mhm.
If you want to go and talk about how you hate this or that, by all means, go waste your freaking day doing it.
This is
okay?
America. You have the
But
freedom.
yes,
That's
yes.
right. That's
Do I
right.
believe somebody should be able to do that? Absolutely. Do I believe they have the right or should harm anybody? And do I agree with everyone? Absolutely not.
You know what? That he fell for free will fell for one of the fake news hoaxes. Trump, in that very statement, said, "I'm not talking about the white supremacists. Those people I condemn totally." And whether he should or shouldn't have done that is not my concern. He was talking about the people who are just normal, pro-American, Southern pride people, or not even necessarily Southern pride. Like me, I'm not necessarily Southern, but I'm not for the tearing down of these monuments to kiss up to this fake racism drama as if it's going to help Black people be less angry. They're tearing down General Lee, who's like an American hero. It's ridiculous. And so Trump was
Lee was an American hero.
Trump was talking about pretty soon they're going to be taking down George Washington. And sure enough, they were taking down, I don't know if it was George Washington, but other normal American heroes who have nothing to do with the Confederacy. So he was talking about that. So you fell for fake news there, Free Will.
I think Phoebe.
Yeah, Phoebe, go.
Sorry.
I'm just dying to ask Hake something real quick.
Yes.
You brought up Confederate statues and the the trend of tearing them down. I don't know why I couldn't formulate that. Anyway, as a person who's actually from the Deep South, I'm just curious. Do you happen to know what kind of neighborhoods that those statues were installed near to?
In many cases, Black neighborhoods.
And do you know what era they were established in?
Yeah.
Yeah, in like the 19 teens and stuff.
Question.
Why would they do that then and there?
Because they're trying to stamp down on the rights of the Southerners, and they're trying to do this forced integration stuff. Like all of this thing was, I don't know. They've been oppressing the beautiful South. The North has been kind of putting their knee on the neck of the beautiful South, and so they're a reaction. But whatever the case,
there's a reaction.
Yeah. What's that?
So you're saying Confederate statues were established in Black neighborhoods as a reaction to carpetbaggers? Is that your real argument?
I don't know, something to that effect. But what's wrong? Many Blacks are for it. But what's wrong with the Blacks that they're so hateful of the whites that they can't stand the Confederate soldiers and Confederate heroes? Robert E. Lee was good to his slaves. And so too is Sam Houston and many of the other guys.
Oh my God, they were good.
Owning
oh
a
my
human
God.
being is not being good to them.
They were
I don't
And
care
these
how
blacks
common
and
it
these
is.
blacks are ridiculous for
Hey.
identifying with that. Honestly,
Hey, do you agree with the number 3 million? Do you think that was an accurate number? Do you question the numbers?
you mean 6 million? Or what are you talking about?
Sorry, 6 million. Yes. Do you
Before
question those numbers?
I do.
No, I don't question
I've
it.
been wanting to keep
Really?
this on Trump, but continuously we've been brought to different places.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to jump into the Q&A. Folks, do have to say, if you have questions, we will move fast. I think we can fit more questions in, but get them in fast as we have a lot of questions for this Q&A. A couple of quick housekeeping things. First, folks, if you didn't know it, we have channel memberships. Check those out. We have epic perks, including just announcing it today for the first time. If you sign up at the final word level for our channel memberships, which is just $14.99 a month, you actually get to watch all of DebateCon live. So the entire conference for just $14.99. Check out those channel memberships. Plus, you get all the perks from the tiers below that, which is many. That's the top tier. You will not regret it. Check those perks out. With that, we're going to jump into the Q&A. Thank you very much. We're going to do this in reverse. Carver531 says, flat Earth. Who's sighing? Flat Earth or round Earth? One
Obvious.
word. William?
I'll go with globe Earth.
Phoebe?
Donut Earth.
Hake?
Ball tarred for life.
And Michael?
Globe.
You got it. This one from, thank you very much for your question. Moon Presence says, question for after the debate. Dr. James, love you. Thanks for your kind words. Phoebe, why did you not extend the same courteous format for Alchemist Soil the same way James did for this debate? Is that one of your arch nemesises? What is it? Alchemist Soil, Phoebe?
Oh my goodness. Can you tell me who that was sent from? Just
That
out
was
of curiosity.
Moon Presence.
Moon Presence. Okay, cool. Noted. Yeah, the reason I didn't do that is because that was a blood sports showdown, and this is an actual structured debate.
Wow. This one from Marilyn. Thank you very much for your super chat. Sugar Mama says, Hake Black. And Haladonian Elixir says, the U.S. is being reduced to a financial oligarchy. The whole political system is now a theater. However, at least Trump is a showman and a good actor. So he is perfect for the job.
Nice. I'll take it. He's a good
Everybody-
example. He's a good example as we fall into oblivion.
I
There's
feel
no
like
changing
Hake
it.
is starting to become satirical with his argument.
No, I'm
I
serious.
don't know. I don't get it.
I really
Are we
think.
arguing or are we joking? I don't know.
No, I mean, I really think that America is done. Look at how evil everybody is. Anyway, go ahead.
Good point, Hake. Thanks for that.
This one coming in from Big League Drew says, there is no left or right. It is just a uniparty. Both sides are highly dedrader. That's a new word I've never seen in my life. Maybe it was a typo. Dedrader. Is this like some sort of
Sounds
urban slang?
suspiciously like a typo.
Yeah, it doesn't sound real.
Happy to
I
be
thought
there.
it was some new slang for me. Big League Drew, well, anybody disagree?
I respectfully disagree in that Trump is for what's right, and both parties tend to hate him. The only reason that the Republicans are working with him is because they're kind of forced to, because nobody likes them.
You know what? I actually will say that Hake is kind of right on that. Like, real talk, the Republicans didn't want to work with Trump necessarily. They just kind of had to because Trump was able to tap into, well, frankly, some of the least informed voters in America, but he was able to perfectly speak to their arguments and get his message out there in a way none of the other Republican candidates did, and he had way more charisma than any of them did by an order of magnitude. So he just ran the gamut, and there was no way they could oppose him at that point. And they've been under that spell ever since.
A man among boys. That's Trump.
This one from...
That's one way to put it, I guess.
Mike Young says, hey, William and Phoebe, if Kamala would have won, then you think that Obama and Big Mama Michelle was bad, then that woman would have completely turned America into a ghetto. By the way, what's up, Hake?
Hey, great point.
No, I don't think Kamala would have turned America into a ghetto. I think that's fucking hilarious. She literally wanted to invest $40 billion worth of innovation into affordable housing. She wanted to
That's ghetto.
do like,
Sorry.
I mean, dude,
people not
affordable
being able to
housing is not
finance.
low income housing. There's a difference between the two. There is a policy difference between the two.
And guess what happens without affordable housing, Hake? You got homeless neighborhoods. Is that better, Hake? You'd rather that?
Yeah, would
less
you rather
ghetto?
live around homeless jungles?
Yeah, the tent gardens, or what do they call them? Tent cities?
Put the homeless into
tent
mandatory volunteer labor.
Slavery.
That's called a concentration camp. Hey,
No, I mean, well,
Slavery.
I think the Geneva Convention has rules against that.
Mandatory labor.
globalism.
This one coming in from
I'm a globalist.
Big League Drew says, should felons be able to keep and bear arms?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Big League Drew says, physiognomy check. Am I saying that word right? Big League Drew says, how do you justify Biden's stance on crime, parentheses, 1984 crime bill, and his use of the N-word?
Will, you want to take the lead on this one?
I'll change my answer about the bearing arms. It depends on the crime. How about that? But also about that, yeah, the N-word, I don't know why we're bringing up,
he didn't say the full-blown N-word, did he? Or did he? But who cares if he did? I'm for it. But
He may have. He's an old man. Here's the thing. Like, he's like an old-ass politician from the 70s.
Crime was
Dude,
so...
he was an
Can I
ancient
help you
walking
guys?
corpse.
I don't think he ever did say it. I'll stake my stance. He never said that.
He talked about the Negro Leagues, I think. But anyway, the crime was so out of control. Even the black so-called leaders were wanting tough on crime policies. And that's partly why crime went down after the 90s, because the crack epidemic kind of tattered off. And we did like 3 strikes laws. We had Rudy Giuliani and good tough on crime people. Nice.
This one
And
from...
I mean... Yeah, never mind.
Big League Drew says, Donald Trump banned bump stocks, infringing the Second Amendment and violation of this looks like Latin, like posse comitatus. I don't know how to say that. I'll put it in chat.
Posse comitatus.
Thank you.
What's that again?
I'm not going to try.
Posse comitatus.
What's that mean?
It's got to do with I believe it's got to do with the president being able to like muster their own personal army and use it against people. I believe.
Yeah.
The power of the country is I get what you mean. That's like the technical definition I'm adding to yours. This one from Big League Drew says, so why is everyone arguing for overlords? Have you ever thought about being sovereign? You wouldn't even know what to do if you were free, William.
Oh my God, that's a great point. I never considered that.
Take that, William.
Thanks for changing my life with that one. Wow.
This one from...
Was that a soft sit?
The Credible Hulk says, yeah, Antifa is not a group and is just an idea, except for having identified chapters, organized rallies, public recruitment, defined organizational structure, and unifying charter. Your arguments from incredulity aren't convincing anyone.
Yeah. Nice work.
Wait, let me do the same thing. Aliens just abducted the president, and they're having threatening emails go back and forth about minors in a Pizza Hut. Oh my God, I don't even know what's going on. That's the same thing that just happened.
No, you're being a communist now.
Oh, you're right, Hake. Thank you.
Wait, what? That being a
I could just say a bunch of random.
Yeah, one of the things that communists do is they just mock good points.
Those points were lies, and I guarantee.
That's not a communist attribute. That's
it's a human nature thing, but communists do it. It's true.
Fact check a
Yeah,
single
so
one of
do
those things, and
capitalists
you'll
and
find they're
everybody
not
else.
true.
Move on.
Oh,
This
Lord.
one-
Okay, that's the capitalist in you. Hey, move on.
Coming in from, can I get this one? Okay, no, he didn't. Big League Drew, and this is similar. They said, but Antifa also has chapter leaders, like particular individuals that lead the chapters and websites and merch.
Yeah, you know what? How come you guys are so comfortable supporting a woman in like Kamala Harris? And a lot of the like communism and liberalism is sort of female oriented. All these No Kings protests and Antifa tend to be like very female. What's with that? How do you guys feel about yourselves supporting women in leadership?
Are you assuming
I'm a
women are
trans
bad
woman. Why
then?
would I have a problem? Why would I have a problem with women in leadership positions?
Yeah, you're
But how do you
presuming
feel
we're
about
against women.
How do I feel about it? I don't place like a super critical degree of importance on it. I don't think that women are necessarily more qualified to run a country or a business or whatever else than a man is. But I also don't think they're any less qualified merely on the basis of their sex. I think, like anything else, it should be a merit-based assessment. And if a woman happens to be the best fit for the job, then she is who we should select, whether it comes to a hiring decision at a business that we're running or a voting decision at the voting booth. I think in this instance, we didn't have any good independent candidates or any good third-party candidates. So failing those, our best option was Kamala Harris. I think she was the best fit for the job, regardless of the fact that she has a vagina and identifies as a woman.
Wow. We're going to jump to the next question if that's all right. I'm going to do one
ahead.
quick housekeeping thing. Folks, really quick interjection. If you would like to have a debate on your college campus to promote your student group or to debate or to promote your university, email me at moderndaydebate@gmail.com. We already have several universities or student groups that have reached out. We want to host huge debates on college campuses. Reach out to us at moderndaydebate@gmail.com. This one from Credible Hulk says, oh, wait, so they're both okay. Big Lee Drew says, hey, James and Michael, in particular, James Hake, would it be fair to say that white people who voted for Kamala did it out of guilt and because they hate Trump?
Yeah, I mean they hate masculinity. They hate whites tend to be more conservative and like sensible in their voting lately. And so there's like this anti-white hatred and they've been brainwashed by that. And I think the overreaction to Trump is because he's a man as a man should be.
I'll say that I think that some of the people who did vote for Kamala voted for Kamala just because they were voting for anyone but Trump. But I mean, were there some people that voted for her just because she's, who the hell knows? Probably. But I think it was just voting against Trump, a lot of it.
I would agree with that. I think that a primary motivator of the 2024 elections was, and it's funny, it's actually one of my criticisms of Kamala Harris is the fact that she didn't present a strong enough vision for the country. It's not that I don't think she had better policies, I think she did, but it's one thing to have good policies, it's another thing to package that up in a set of catchy catchphrases and cool appearances and making yourself seem likable. And I think that really the 2024 election was entirely decided on the basis of what people felt about Trump. Do you like him? Do you hate him? That's how you're going to vote.
And I agree with I would agree with Phoebe on this. Like Kamala, I don't want to sell it like as if Kamala is the savior of America. She would not have been. But it's really easy to argue she would have been better than Trump because I think almost any politician would have been less embarrassing at the very least than Mr. Trump.
She had 4 years to be better than him.
She wasn't the president, was she?
Basically,
And so did
she
Donald
kind of
Trump.
was, maybe.
Okay, she was the puppeteer, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, ridiculous.
This one
Yeah.
coming in from
See, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to devote too much time to this, but I just want to say I think that Biden is not completely gone even now. I think that he's going through the process of losing his mind. But I don't know if you guys have ever been around an old person that's going through that process. It doesn't necessarily happen in the space of a year or two. Sometimes it does, but I think Joe Biden has had a limited degree of cogence and agency for a long time. That's why he didn't drop out earlier. If he'd had any of his wits about him, if he was the same politician he was 10 years ago in 2024, he would have dropped out. He would have let Kamala Harris take the lead, and there would have been a primary. But because he was old, demented, and his mind was slipping, but he had limited agency still, that's why he screwed the pooch when it came to the primary process for the Democratic side.
And his wife's ego.
Coming in from
Possibly. I don't know about that.
Credible Hulk says, I'd love to hear how these lefties square their position that tariffs are bad because they ultimately get passed onto the consumer, but jacking up corporate taxes and on other wealth/job creators won't.
Mhm.
It's a taxation paradox.
Yep.
Yep.
True.
We actually talked about it.
So the difference is that corporate taxes come from corporations, and the purpose of a corporation is to make profit, right? So you have room to be taxed more. That isn't necessarily going to be directly responded to or passed on to the consumer, right? They have profits. That's the point of the company. Tariffs are to the entire country. So a country isn't there to make profits. A country is there to provide for their citizens. And if you're pushing taxes on the entire country, there's no profits to eat into. It's just gonna go into all of the citizens all the time. This is very different. One has profits, one doesn't.
No, you don't understand, because these companies are already adjusting. So it's like Michael said, it's going to be an adjustment process, and long term, it's going to be for the better, I think.
This one coming in from Big League Drew says, giant douche or turd sandwich, I am your king now. I don't know what that means. Heathens, though, says modern day debate, pretend Trump has been and continues to act exactly like Hitler himself. I forgot. I should have said H.
Oh yeah.
Villain. Whatever you think that is, what would you think of him? And remember, we use the word H villain around here for
Okay.
YouTube purposes.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, what was it? What is it?
Was he saying that Trump acts like him, or pretend that he does? Like,
pretend Trump has been and continues to act exactly like the main villain of World War II himself. Whatever you think that is, what would you think of him?
So
It
if he
doesn't
were
really make sense. I think they're drunk. I
Let's hear
guess
from
they say like
Big League Drew over here with all the super chats. We love them.
yeah, thanks for the support.
yeah,
modern
thank
day
you,
debate.
Big League Drew. This one I'm trying to figure out though. I think they're saying if Trump acts like Hitler, then do you think that he's a bad guy?
It's a good question. What would you guys say though?
Objectively, he's a good guy.
No, but
objectively, Trump is a good guy. I don't know.
But what if he was like Hitler?
But he's not. I mean.
Oh, but then you're ignoring the question, Hake. What if he was?
I can't do ifs.
I know you don't have the mental capacity to do an if.
This one coming in from. Do appreciate it. Mike Young says, hey, William and Phoebe, do you care about the illegal aliens affecting the Black community?
Good question.
I feel like this is a question that is, this is a perfect example of slant coming through the question. This question is meant to imply that there is some kind of racial divide that needs to be drawn between working class Hispanic people and working class Black people, when the fact of it is that working class Black people and Hispanic people have far more in common than either of them has in common with a billionaire or a politician or anybody else in the upper ruling class. And it behooves the Black community, just like it behooves the white community, to allow the immigrants that come to America to work our fields and our factories and the many other jobs Americans have refused to do for the last 50 years. It behooves us to continue to allow those people to come in. Not only that, it behooves us to make their pathway to citizenship easier, the way Kamala Harris was planning on doing. It behooves us to make that easier.
You didn't answer the question, though. It's affecting the Black Americans.
They didn't clarify how, so I don't particularly feel the need to like answer the question, like, you know, as
I
if
can
it's a
clarify
question
how
that is predicated on something true.
they've been pushing them out of their own communities. The Mexican mafia did random hits on Black Americans in their own neighborhoods. They
Any evidence
pushed
for
them
any
out
of
of.
these stuff?
They pushed them out. SPLC. They pushed them out of their classrooms
Southern
and
Poverty Law Center.
social services and all kinds of things. So they've been fighting like crazy. The people who have a lot in common fight. So your little nice
Sure, but it still behooves
utopia
us
ideas
to.
don't work.
It still behooves us. It still behooves, you know, the vast majority of Mexican people and Honduran people and people from Central America who come to America come here to work and do so without getting into any kind of criminal mischief or anything like that. And then this is just borne out by the fucking deportation statistics and stuff like that. It's just a factual reality that the vast majority of people who are here, whether they're here legally or illegally, immigrants tend not to commit all that much crime. They don't commit that much more crime than any other group in this country,
Yes,
and
they do.
especially their kids. Their kids commit especially less crime, and like 2 or 3 generations in, pretty much they're like indistinguishable from any other citizen living in that country as far as demographic trends go. So this idea that immigrants bring some kind of inherent criminality, it's just false.
They are committing crimes
stand
more.
in solidarity. We need to stand in solidarity with the Hispanic people we rely on to pick the food that we all eat.
I agree
and
with you
process
that
the meat that we all eat.
All right.
I agree with you that they
details.
shouldn't
We
be
need the potatoes.
I agree with you. Nobody should be hating, but the reality is people hate and they don't get along. This integration stuff even with black and brown does not work. And they too, both blacks and browns have been encouraged to hate and be angry. They have the most criminality out of all of the different ethnicities in America. And they have a whole culture of just ignoring
they also have the highest
law.
Poverty rate.
They have a whole culture of ignoring the law. So
they also have a culture of working way harder and being far less. They have a culture of working way harder and being far less entitled than most Americans ever do, and that's why they have a lot of success.
I get some of that. If we deported the illegals and ended the welfare state, then the people would go back to work and all would be well. You end a lot of this overbearing unemployment and all that stuff. Then they would go. They're better suited for fields because it's so much better all around.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question. Marilyn, thanks for your kind super chat. Sugar Mama and Mike Young says, "Hey William and Phoebe." Oh, I think we got that one. This one from J Rock says, "Hake of the Hake Report says if you don't care about policy and are against women as president, saying Trump is better than Kamala isn't a debate. It's bad faith bias, right?"
No, because my bias is based on reality. Reality is men lead, women support. And that's what Trump is doing. He's leading and he's putting women in support, a little bit more leadership support, in my opinion, than he should. But it's not up for debate. Trump is far better than head and shoulders, knees and toes above Kamala.
What is your source on women? What is your source on men lead, women support? What is that drawn from?
Their bodies, their minds, their temperament. If you look at the Supreme Court.
Hold on. No. Let's not gish gallop. I want to let's get specific.
Okay, their bodies.
How does a woman's body make her unable to lead?
Men physically.
Leadership is a psychological.
He's trying to answer.
Men physically protect. Women are weaker, physically and mentally. They talk way too much and way more. Look at the Supreme Court. That black gal talks more than anybody, and the most manly justice, Clarence Thomas, a man of few words, and the most solid, unshakable man there. So men are fit to lead. I mean, better fitted to lead.
Go ahead, Phoebe, please.
What would you say to the many women who have held leadership positions in Iceland and have seen that country increase in economic success and political participation and social services? The women who've been leading Iceland seem to have led it in a better direction Do you think that's just a fluke?
I don't know about Iceland. I know about in America, so I can't comment on Iceland. I'm sorry. But in America, they have put women as the head of homes in Black households and Hispanic households, and look at the disproportionate crime rates, partly as a result of that. Women leading has led to chaos because they get in their
So
heads.
you don't think poverty has anything to do with that?
No, it leads to poverty. That stuff leads to poverty. The immorality and insanity and foolishness of women leading has led to poverty, crime, discord, division, hatred, all kinds of chaos. They're not
We'll go to the next
meant to
one.
lead.
You realize that
I hate to do this, but we do have to go to the next question.
Okay.
I want to give
Okay,
whoever
that's fair.
the question was. Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, I like Trump over Kamala because Trump didn't get his job over his skin color and gender.
Yeah, totally.
Any thoughts?
How do you know she got it through that?
Because Biden's a kiss up.
This one from Emperor Fat Ass William's face. Emperor Fat Ass Drug strikes again, says, why did Kamala say she wouldn't have changed anything about Joe's presidency? Why would the American people allow 4 more years of the same shit?
Whoa.
I mean, I wasn't like, I don't know about William, but my position on, well, actually, I kind of do know about William, but our position in this debate was not that Kamala was the savior of America or some blessed figure from on high that we were all just destined to vote for. Our argument was that she was better than Trump, which is an incredibly low bar. It's a very easy thing. It's a very easy milestone to hit, right? In my opinion. Very easy milestone to hit. But yeah, I've got a lot of criticisms of Kamala. I think they can all pretty much be aptly summed up in the 3 words that Joe Biden used to describe the policy disparity that he wanted to see between himself and Kamala's campaign. No daylight, kid.
Do you agree with
That's why I wasn't a big fan of Kamala.
Do you agree that Kamala is fake and phony?
She definitely has a tendency to be, yeah. I think that's, hold on, can I just say this? That, like, I think that's a tendency of a lot of liberal women. I don't think it's a tendency of a lot of leftist women, but for some reason, I think a lot of liberal women feel like they have to have, like, 2 personalities. One where they're more cool and chill, and then one where they're like, this is my personality for the media so that you don't think anything negatively about my personal public persona. And you can see Hillary Clinton do it. You can see Nancy Pelosi do it. You can see AOC starting to do it now, and she didn't used to do it, you know? So, I would agree Kamala Harris is kind of fake. But so is fucking Trump. So, like, you don't think Trump is a bullshitter? He's a bullshitter from way back.
But he I call it bogus speech, BS, bogus speech. He does that towards the truth, though.
What do you mean?
Towards common sense ends. Go ahead.
I still don't know what you mean.
Overall, I think he's a real guy and he says what he thinks. And sometimes it may be an exaggeration or not exactly accurate, but it's in the direction of what's right. It's in the direction of the truth.
I think a lot of the hate that Trump gets is because he speaks a lot of harsh truths.
Yeah,
that people just
good
don't.
Point.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to tell it like it is. And, because we've been being fed, a lot of, spoon-fed bullshit for 4 years prior.
Great point. So true. That's why he is hated.
I think Trump speaks to the id. I think she speaks to the primitive back part of our brains that likes to see blood sports and likes to focus on ourselves and our selfishness. And I think that is a very strong driver of people voting for him. And I think it's scary because I think that's kind of what that side of politics is more interested in but it's a very persuasive argument, right? We all have a part of our brain that is more interested in preserving myself and trying to make sure I'm okay and don't worry about anybody else. And I think that is what makes him such a persuadable candidate.
Return to your manliness, free will.
I think there's lots of manliness and caring about people who are less fortunate than
Which is what Trump does, but in a more manly way.
Pardon my...
exactly makes it more manly?
Let's talk about Trump's manliness later. We're going to jump to the next question. This one coming in from Emperor Fat Ass Dog Strikes again says, Why did Kamala? We got that one. Mike Young says, "Hey, William and Phoebe, were women created to lead or to follow?"
I don't think they
No,
were created
women
to
weren't
do
created.
anything. Yeah,
One
that's
at
just
a
like
time.
Yeah, well, I don't think women were created, period. I think women evolved. Like the word woman is like a gender term that refers to like whole set of psychological constructs. I think that evolved from like civilization, modern society has affected it, et cetera, right? Psychological precept. As far as like the concept of the female sex, that's a product of evolution, not any sort of creation.
Did evolution make them to lead or follow?
evolution doesn't have
Neither.
intention.
Yeah, evolution doesn't have intention. Very
I
good
know,
point.
but it sets out basic. They fall into normal roles naturally.
Well, your question had to do with intention, so it's false
Not
on its
really.
face. Sorry.
Okay, whatever.
This one coming in from Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, "Hey, William." Okay, you see, do you know that Martin Luther King? Do you know that Martin Luther King was taped by the FBI during a gang grape? How's he a gang grape? A good person? Okay, I think they're trying to say.
Phoebe, you're making noise.
What's going on? What?
I'm sorry.
Don't play with the mic. Okay, thank you. All right. Is that they had said they're alleging that MLK was forcibly copulating with a person, just, a theoretical person.
Allegedly.
They say, how's he a good person if
Okay.
this is true? I guess this kind of hinges on whether or not it's true.
Yeah, I didn't realize the level of I don't know, like close proximity to like racist and Nazism that this kind of was gonna be, but
But that's the FBI. That's not Nazism.
the FBI said that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the FBI said that.
But
And I
you
would love
believe
to
that
see the
Trump.
source.
But you believe that Trump did E. Jean Carroll. Silly.
No, sorry. No, I don't believe that. The jury that found him guilty of it did believe
They
it.
didn't find
not
him
me.
guilty. They found him liable, which is not.
What does that mean?
Liable means more likely than not he did it. So they think because they're anti-Trump. They're suckers.
Oh my God! It means he probably did it. Wow.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But you don't
Fantastic.
believe. You don't
Following
believe
yourself. You fell into your own trap.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh. No, nuh-uh to you. Hake. Nuh-uh to you.
But we're talking about MLK.
Well, you brought up Trump.
I know because you have a double standard. You kiss up to the black communists, and then you hate the real man.
La 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 la. Stop it, Hake. I don't want to listen to you anymore.
This one coming in from, do appreciate it, Emperor Fat Ass Dogs says, to the no side. This has actually been a pretty cordial Q&A. I usually have to tell people that we want to. So thank you, folks, for your sincere questions. They say, let me see this one. They say, to the no side, do you believe our country would be more respected by other hostile countries if a woman became president?
Wait, the no side? Which side is that? Am I on the no side?
Correct.
I think that's the Kamala side. They're talking about, yeah.
Was Trump the right pick for Kamala? You guys say no. So you think that they would take Kamala, hostilities would increase with a woman president?
I think it depends on the woman. I think a woman could be 1,000,000 times more tough than Trump could ever be, depending on the woman.
Oh yeah, the right woman. Yeah.
How about Kamala?
I honestly, hold on. Yeah, Kamala. No, I will give my opinion on Kamala. Kamala was a fucking war hawk. Yes. Do I think Kamala would have been as Trump as Trump? Okay. So do I think Kamala would have been as tough as Trump? I do. I think she might have actually been tougher. If you listen to her rhetoric on Iran, she was unwilling to rule out possibly engaging in military conflict with them. Just kind of like, in fact, she just kind of brought it up on 60 Minutes, just out of the blue, just made it up, just singled them out as our global enemy. So I think when it comes to like a comparison between Trump and Harris when it comes to their foreign policy, I think you can make an argument that Kamala Harris was actually running to the right of Trump when it came to foreign policy. It was actually one of the things I was giving Trump credit for before. Well, number one, before he seemed to start to waffle on this Ukraine shit and not actually pursue diplomacy on it, and number two, when he started doing this shit with Venezuela, Israel. I mean, every fucking president supports Israel, so I just feel like it's one of those things we can't escape from. I don't try and judge whether a president is or is not anti-war purely on the basis of that, because I recognize it's one of those conflicts that we are tied in with in a really deep and pernicious way. So I think Kamala would have been just as tough as Trump, if not tougher.
And let me answer it this way real quick: is if I was Putin, if I was Kim Jong-un, or if I was MBS, I would much rather have Trump be in charge of America than Kamala be in charge of America, because I know Trump would be willing to work with me, even though I'm an evil dictator, a lot more than I would if I was with Kamala.
Phoebe, she had an opportunity for 4 years, though, to keep Putin in check. I mean, you're saying you think she would have done this?
Biden or Kamala? Was it Biden or Kamala you're talking about?
It was both of them. What do you mean?
Oh, was the Biden in charge or was Kamala in charge? Real quick.
I mean, I'm obviously
irrelevant.
So now he's going to pretend that Kamala is better than Biden and Trump.
Yeah, vice president and president have the same amount of power, right? That's the same thing.
But in your imagination, you imagine Kamala would be better than Trump and Biden. Ridiculous.
What goes on behind closed doors? She had 4 years to jump in and be like, "Listen, Vlad, you do some shit. There's going to be some shit." She didn't say anything.
Yep.
She didn't do what Trump literally did for 4 years.
She's weak.
He had an opportunity to. You can't tell me the vice president doesn't have the opportunities to piggyback off of their president. Absolutely not.
No, the vice president is always hamstrung by the president in charge. If the president in charge doesn't want weapon shipments, then the vice president better be fucking ready to do some real underhanded shit. And whatever else you want to say about Kamala Harris, I'm pretty sure the only underhanded shit she gets up to is the shit that's legally allowed by law, which, by the way, there's a lot of it. America allows a lot of corruption that a lot of other countries just ban.
A quick follow-up. If she was too cowardly to go against Biden at all when she was given the opportunity on The View, what would you do different from Biden? And she's like, not really anything. Then she doesn't have the guts, we'll say, to stand up to any of these dictators. It's all talk.
Well, what do you think of the argument that she was trying to not rock the boat? You know, I don't know. That's what I would say.
That's why Trump is
That's
the right
why she lost. Say again, Michael?
I said that's why Trump doesn't give a shit about rocking the boat. And
that's right.
He wants us to move forward. Like,
that's what he wants.
Until you flip over, right? That's the analogy. A boat can flip over. That's the analogy,
you rock
right?
the boat, but you potentially prevent one country from invading another country when they've been kept in check for 4 years.
Yeah, he's unpredictable.
This one from Marilyn, thank you for your kind words. And Carver 531, we got Kevin Howe says Hake is destroying these clowns.
Michael is brilliant, I gotta say. Michael, it reminds me of one of my friends, a fellow listener of the Jason Lee Peterson show. He is calm and on it. Shout out, Michael.
I would say I do think Michael has a lot more agreeable takes than his partner does. So Michael,
that's because I'm destroying you.
Stop destroying me, Hake. Jesus.
This one from Dialogue Always. Good to see you, Dialogue Always. Says frequent debater on here. Says somewhat frequent. How do you think Kamala would have responded to blowing up the Colombian boat, not Venezuelan?
I don't know what that means.
So they're saying, you remember when Trump blew up this Colombian boat? It was in the ocean. And then Trump told the military, like, hey, go ahead. And they did. They blew it up. And they're saying, how do you think Kamala would have responded to blowing up the boat?
Probably the same way. Like, Kamala Harris was a neoliberal, and neoliberals are just this side of conservatives, especially when it comes to foreign policy. The main distinguishing factor between a neoliberal like Kamala Harris and a neoconservative like Donald Trump is, a neoliberal is less likely to engage in, fascistic policy here at home in regards to their corporate relationships or in regards to their activities with free speech and things like that. But they're equally likely to support foreign intervention, I should say, or, extracurricular military activities. They're equally likely to engage in those things.
Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a little fucked up. Maybe. Well, what's a neoliberal and a neo? Because you got to
It's
treat
like
me
a
like
modern day liberal, modern day
no,
conservative.
no, it's kind of like globalist, interventionist, kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Hake. Actually, you're 100% right. So a neoliberal is a liberal who is, unlike a lot of liberal movements in the past, were kind
War,
of anti-war as a rule. And nowadays, a lot of
pro-war.
a lot of the DNC is clearly pro-war. The anti-war position is pretty much only held by members of the self-identified left. People like me and Will, we're willing to say we're anti-war. Most people in the DNC and adjacent to it are not anymore, and that is a neoliberal. That's one facet of
This
it.
one.
Another is their willingness to work with corporations and shit like that. Sorry, go on.
thinking really deep.
Big League Drew says, I will be 36 by 2028. Write me in on your ballot. I will not let you down. Well, we know William will be voting for you. This one from Big League Drew says, right? Okay, he said it twice.
Big Lee Drew is the man.
Oh, wait, they said, write in campaign in 2028. Write me in. I will not support Israel. Whoa.
Big Lee Drew. You're not the man anymore.
Whoa. I can't remember. Had I asked you guys if you were up for a debate on whether or not the U.S. should cut ties with Israel? Did I ask you about that, William?
I would be down for that.
I'd probably be less interested in that.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't mind it. Kind
Wow.
of. I don't have a strong. I kind of am lean more pro keeping a good relationship with Israel.
What the?
And I'm
What?
anti-Israel. Cool.
We can all flip flops.
Amazing. But I want to say, folks, that's actually, let me see if I can find this. I hope that I saved it. I had Mr. Creenan I had a question from, and I think I copied it, but I forgot to paste it. I want to say, folks, check out our guest links in the description box. You maybe are sitting here and you're like, hey, no, the show is just getting started. I want to hear more. You can hear more both by checking out our guest links, whether it be YouTube or Twitter, as some of them have YouTube, some of them have Twitter. I highly encourage you. It doesn't have to end here. Okay. I want to say thank you for our guests. They are the lifeblood of the channel. Thank you very much, William, Phoebe, Hake, and Michael. It's been a true pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us,
Yeah, it's been a
James.
pleasure to be on.
Michael's link is broken in the description. I think it needs
Thank
an
you for
at
letting me
sign.
know that.
Gosh.
I will have to
I'm
check
the
that
dude
out.
2025.
I will fix that. I want to say, folks, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back in just a moment, letting you know about upcoming debates at Modern Day Debate. With that, thank you very much, and I'll be right back in just a moment.
Yeah. I'm that guy. Get out of here.
Amazing! My dear friends, I'm very excited to share with you some juicy stuff. First, if you did not know it, folks, we have a subscription goal. What is it called? Channel membership goal. It's a long day, apparently. For Modern Day Debate, for this stream, to get 3 new channel memberships. If you haven't yet, check out our channel membership. Thinking, James, what do you mean channel memberships? I didn't even know if I knew you had channel memberships. Well, we do. And I'm going to show them right now. As you can see on the left side of your screen, if you click that join button, you will see 3 different options. The spectator. This is where you get cool emojis as well as the badge next to your name. And I'll show you some of the other cool stuff here because you might be thinking like, hey, that's cool, but give me the details. What would I get? Here are the details for the spectator level. Just $2.99 a month. Think about this. Folks, you can't get a cup of coffee for $2.99 anymore. It's going to be at least like $3.50. $2.99 for our lowest membership. You get all the channel badges. Not only that, but as you can see on screen, you get immunity from when we use slow mode or slow mode chat. You get immunity from that when you're a member. Also, photos and status updates. I, for example, just left a based take in our members only posts today. In particular, very controversial opinion on which Star Wars TV show is actually really good, despite people hating it. So highly encourage you, check that out. And maybe you're like, oh, what other memberships? Here's the big news that I've got to share. I'll share it in just a second. Don't sign up yet because you want to see at least all of them. Let's say you're like, well, maybe I'll go to the middle level. Well, at the middle level, you get all the perks we just showed you, plus you get members-only videos. For example, we have 350 debates that are members-only. Some of them very controversial. We don't leave them open to the public. Also, members shout-outs, which reminds me, I actually have to do these. I forgot. I have to update this. We will shout out your name at the end of the stream, which we are doing right now. I want to say thank you very much for those of you who have become members at the debater level. It's an amazing level because you also get early access to new videos. So when we launch a new outnumbered video, that is another example where, hey, you could check that out before everybody else gets to see it, which is another cool little perk. Members only live stream as the Patreon meeting that we do, like a monthly Patreon meeting. You can listen in on stuff that we were planning for Modern Day Debate in our monthly members only live stream. So that's at the debater level for $4.99 a month. And that's something that, again, probably it's going to be a little bit challenging to find a cup of coffee for less than $4.99 if it's a good size. If it's let's say it's a good, one of those like good candy like coffees, you know, the Loca Mocha latte type stuff. Yeah, those are like $9 usually, aren't they? But want to encourage you, and I'm going to give out those shout outs right now. So let me just look up our members at the final word level as well as at the debater and the final word. So thank you very much. T, as well as Yach Fine, and D's Newts, Jordan Walsh, Mortem, I Killed Earl, Sheary, Tyshera, Eubanks, NetTube user. We got a lot of these now. Thank you for joining these. This is way more than I realized, to be honest. Let me find Basil Problem, Fady, Ibrahim. Thank you for being a member as well. And then let me just pull this because it keeps jumping on me. Jordan Walsh. Walk with the Spirit. Ryan, Samuel Lindstrom, Jen, Ranch Girl, Nate P. Oh, there's like so many. The page just keeps jumping on me, so 2 seconds. I'm going to download the actual list because that I am very encouraged. Like, thank you guys for becoming members, as it has been growing. We just relaunched like new tiers, and so we started fresh just a couple of weeks ago. And let me get this list where it won't be jumping around on me. So, Mr. Intuitive, Eddie Lifts, Marilyn, Even Lord, Kat Johnson, Johnny M, Ryan, Jupiter, Darm, in 007, Mr. Yang, Tony's Tech and Custom PCs, Riley Nemi, Pito Rosario, Joshua Latino, Johnny M, Kat Johnson. Thank you all for being members at the debater level. And some of those were people that are at the final word level. And I'm going to show you that right now because I've got a big announcement. If you have heard about DebateCon, which I'm sure you have, otherwise you got something wrong with you because I talk about it all the time, is if you've heard about DebateCon and you're like, bro, I am pumped to make it, that's good. You really should make it. But if you're like, hey, I can't, I live in Australia, it's just not practical for me to be able to make it, don't worry. If you become a member at the final word level, you get to watch all of DebateCon, the entire conference, as a perk for that level. You also have your name on screen in the ticker. You also have your ability to share your thoughts in the MDD monthly Zoom meeting that I mentioned earlier. This is the time to join. And so I would say, hey, consider this. The reason being, you might be thinking like, maybe I thought about the memberships a little bit, is that you can see the entire conference, all of the stage debates, Andrew Wilson versus Dr. Richard Carrier, as well as Made by Jim Bob against Planet Peterson. All of these debates, you can watch them from the comfort of your very own home. And that's the only way you can actually watch them at home, is that it's going to be amazing. Do check out our channel memberships. We do want to say thank you for all of your support. You guys, we're excited about the future. There are a lot of big things coming, but with that, let's see. Marilyn says, I don't vote Trump for king. Let's see. Marilyn, thank you for your kind words. I see you there in the live chat. Hannah, thanks for being a channel mod. MXXXD, thanks for being a channel mod. And Kylo Alpha Tango, glad to see you there in the old live chat. Isa Kabir, happy to have you back. Dave A. Hill, thanks for coming by. True Tech 4158, glad that you are here. Ivana Spencer, thank you for dropping by. I see you there. Phoebe, I see you there in the live chat. Thanks for coming on the debate tonight. Thomas the Taylor, thanks for being a channel member. We do appreciate that. And Catalyst 3713, thank you for becoming a channel member. Let's see. Wait, we got this. They said, finally, chat, we can start the real party. That's true. I want to say thank you guys for being a huge supporter. And yeah, Hannah said, join us in the Discord. I'm going to pin that at the top of the chat. The poll is about to close. So if you haven't yet, vote on who you thought was most persuasive tonight. Or maybe you're like, hey, I don't care. I'm a self-hating soy boy. I'm not going to vote either way. Chaos X Confessional, thanks for dropping in. 1313 says, I need to chill. I am glad that you were here, 1313. And I got to tell you guys, there are big things coming up in the future. This is top secret because it's not confirmed. But we may, and I think it's actually very probable, that we're going to have another big conference in January in San Antonio. So if you become a channel member, for example, at the Stage 6, watch these debates live. You can see all these debates from DebateCon 6. Jump on it now before you forget it. It's going to be huge. Thank you guys for your support. It is always fun. You also get to use those custom emojis that you see in the live chat. You can call people a soy boy using that emoji that Marilyn just used in the old live chat. But yeah, thank you guys. Love you. I'm excited about the future. Big things are coming here at Modern Day Debate. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable. We'll see you at the next one.